Many players answered in 1999. An upset of Penn State catapulted the Gophers to their finest season in 3 decades. Quarterback Billy Cockrum is the trigger man of the Minnesota offense with his arm and his legs. And Thomas Hamner produced one of the finest seasons ever by a Gopher runner as he rushed for more than 1,300 yards. But defense is the cornerstone of the Gopher resurgence. Carter was voted the top defensive back in the land. Oregon is celebrating its 3rd straight bowl appearance under the guidance of coach Mike Bellotti. The Quack Attack can strike by land. All Pac-10 tailback R.Droughns was the 3rd leading rusher in the conference. Or through the air, with all-time receiving yardage leader T.Hartley providing the firepower. Linebacker P.Sirmon delivers a message with every hit as the Ducks attempt to turn around the Pac-10's bowl fortunes. It's Minnesota versus Oregon. It is the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl on CBS Sports. At the Sun Bowl, it's New Year's Eve, Southwestern style. Thousands of fans have made their way to El Paso from the Pacific Northwest and the upper Midwest to cheer on these two teams. For the 32nd consecutive year, CBS Sports is proud to present the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. This afternoon, it's number 12 Minnesota taking on the Ducks of Oregon. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us for this very appealing matchup. Certainly the Minnesota Golden Gophers have been one of the great stories in college football this season. A perennial doormat of the Big Ten. This year, an 8-3 record, their most wins since 1967, their first winning season since 1990, and today they end the longest bowl drought in the Big Ten. It's their first bowl game since 1986. I'm joined, as always, by Todd Blackledge. And Todd, when we talk about the turnaround of the Gophers under Glenn Mason, it really begins on defense.
Well, it's interesting. Glenn Mason said when he studied teams that have lost on a consistent basis, the one common denominator is they play lousy defense. That was the focus of how he would turn around the Minnesota program, and it's remarkable. If you look at the numbers in the 3 years that he's been at the helm at Minnesota, look at the improvement. In 96, before he got here, last in the conference in total defense, next to the last in scoring. Look at the numbers this year. 3rd in total defense, 2nd in scoring defense. And the ringleader of this defense is his senior strong safety, Tyrone Carter. Carter is a 2-time All-American, the first since Bobby Bell back in the early 60s at Minnesota. 4-year starter. He's listed at 5'9". He's really only 5'7.5", but plays with great passion, great intensity, and he is an absolute tackling machine. A lot of nice things have been said about Tyrone. Probably the best compliment from my old coach, Joe Paterno, said he's as good a defensive player as I've ever faced since I've been at Penn State.
And that covers a lot of ground. And while Minnesota has struggled in recent years, Oregon, a team that was down for a long time, has had a resurgence over the last 6 or 7 years under Rich Brooks, and now Mike Bellotti, the 5th-year head coach. He has them in a bowl game for the 4th time in 5 years. Over the last 5 years, they're the winningest team overall in the Pac-10, and when we think about them, we think about offense.
Yeah, Mike Bellotti's a great offensive coach, and this is the best balanced offense in the Pac-10, and it starts with their tailback, senior R.Droughns out of Anaheim, California. He is an explosive combination of power and speed, but he's missed significant parts of his last 2 seasons because of injuries. But when he is healthy and when he's on the field, Oregon is tough to beat. Look at over the last 2 years, 12-3 when he's in the ball game. They average nearly 200 yards rushing. Very important for him to stay in the football game. He's healthy now. No coincidence in this 5-game winning streak. R.Droughns has averaged 35 carries, 160 yards a game.
As is so often the case, it is a beautiful day in El Paso, Texas, and we'll come back with more from the Sun Bowl right after this.
Or even be a football fan to love the guy who coaches them. Mike Wallace scrimmages with Bill Parcells Sunday on 60 Minutes.
CBS Sports presentation of the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl is sponsored by Wells Fargo Bank, the Home Depot, Degree, and by Chevrolet Trucks.
And we welcome you back to the 66th Wells Fargo Sun Bowl from El Paso, Texas. Number 12, Minnesota, with that excellent ranking at 8-3 against Oregon, unranked at 8-3, in part because the Pac-10 has had a difficult season. But Oregon could move into the rankings with a win today. The game ball being delivered into the stadium. And so often in football, there's a fine line between a good record and a difficult season. Both teams have been involved in a lot of close games. For Oregon, a triple overtime win over USC, a narrow loss to UCLA to start a string of memorable endings, including October 23rd when Oregon played at Arizona. The Ducks led 44-41, and Arizona missed a 45-yard field goal with a minute to play. 1 week later, Arizona State was at Oregon. The Ducks won 20-17 when Joey Harrington found Marshawn Tucker with a 29-yard touchdown pass with 9 seconds left. Then on November 13th at Cal, the Ducks prevailed when Brian Johnson intercepted a pass in the end zone in the final minute.
Start to feel like if it's close at the end, we're going to find a way to win. And we just come up with plays, and it was a different person. It wasn't one guy that did it. Certainly our quarterbacks and our receivers and our running backs have a hand in that, but our defense played super the last 3 or 4 games of the season, did a great job.
All 3 Minnesota losses were in close games, and the most memorable victory in many a year for Minnesota, a tight one as well. At Penn State, late in the 4th quarter, 4th and 16, Billy Cockrum's pass deflected by Ron Johnson to Arlen Bruce. It set up a game-winning field goal by Dan Nystrom as time expired. The Gophers upset the Nittany Lions.
You know, we have a saying that I've used since I arrived at Minnesota, that the difference between being 3-8 and 8-3 is so small you blink your eye, you miss it. It was very true last year. Well, this year we didn't blink, we're 8-3, but we did blink, and it could have been really, really spectacular.
Because the 3 losses were by a combined total of 11 points.
Yeah, you know, close games and winning close games speaks of 2 things to me, Sean. Poise, which comes from the head coach and the coaching staff, and also good senior leadership. And both of these teams have had great senior play from their leaders.
We'll return with the opening kickoff from the Sun Bowl right after this.
The Bills and Miami may have one last shot. A doubleheader day with postseason pressure and playoff positioning. Sunday on CBS.
Back in El Paso, where the Minnesota Golden Gophers are taking the field for their first bowl game since 1986. The Gophers moved into the rankings this year for the first time since 1985. They come into the Sun Bowl having won their last 3 games. And there are the Ducks of Oregon, also at 8-3 under head coach Mike Bellotti. They're in a bowl game for the 8th time in the last 11 years. There are only 17 schools in the country who have participated in that many bowl games, 8 over the last 11 years. And with a win today, the Ducks would equal their school record for most wins in one season. They're also very hot coming in. They've won their last 5. As always, we're delighted to be joined by Michelle Tafoya down on the field. Michelle?
All right, Sean. Well, Happy New Year to you guys. I spoke with Minnesota head coach Glenn Mason just a few minutes ago, and he told me he hopes his team hasn't been reading all of its press clippings. He doesn't want his team taking the field thinking they're better than they are. He also said Oregon may not be a top 25 team, but he spoke to a number of Pac-10 coaches who told him they think Oregon is the best team in the conference, and Minnesota simply got a tough draw. As for Mike Bellotti, he knows Oregon got a difficult draw as well, but he told me the better the opponent, the better we've played this season. So playing the 12th ranked team in the nation is awesome for us. Back up to you, Sean.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle. It is a beautiful day, as always, in El Paso. This city has more sunny days than just about any other city in the country. 83% of the daylight hours deliver sunshine here, and that's the case today. 64 degrees at kickoff. A light breeze. Not much of a factor at the moment. They played twice. Neither of the meetings was recent. The last meeting in 1975. Minnesota has won both meetings. Oregon's second Sun Bowl appearance. They were here in 1963, and the Gophers are making their first appearance in the Sun Bowl. There's Mike Bellotti. He was the offensive coordinator under Rich Brooks and then became the head man when Brooks departed to the NFL.
He really is one of the great offensive coaches, I think, in the country. And his system works. I mean, he's had 3 different offensive coordinators in his 5 years as a head coach. He's had 6 different quarterbacks, and yet they just keep getting better and better if you look at their numbers offensively. So he has a very proven system that he brought with him from Chico State before he came to Oregon. They really know how to move the football.
And Oregon won the toss and elected to receive the opening kickoff. So Preston Greening will kick off for Minnesota. Redshirt freshman from Schofield, Wisconsin. Member of the academic All-Big Ten team.
2 very good special teams units also, Sean. 2 of the best in their respective conferences.
And Mike Bellotti emphasized that as a key to today's game. Special teams play. This is Sonny Cook running back the kickoff for the Ducks. And he's taken down to the 26-yard line by Jack Brewer. So the Ducks begin 1st and 10 after a 26-yard return by Cook. The Oregon quarterback is Joey Harrington, a backup at the start of the year, but he came off the bench at midseason to lead them to a couple of come-from-behind wins, and he started the last 3 games of the regular season, all of them victories. He's a sophomore from Portland, 6'4", 212 pounds, out of Central Catholic. A.J. Feely was their starting quarterback at the beginning of the year and had some big games. But it was Harrington to the rescue a couple of times for the Ducks. And he has taken over the starting job. He's going deep on the first play and incomplete. Intended for T.Hartley with coverage from Jimmy Wyrick. Wyrick was a question mark for Minnesota with the flu, but he is out there. The Oregon starters. The backs and receivers. R.Droughns, one of the best in the nation. Brooks is a blocker. Hartley is their all-time leading receiver in terms of yardage. And up front, the best offensive lineman is the center, Deke Moen. And Lee Gundy, the right guard, a great comeback story. He broke his leg in the Aloha Bowl last year. They didn't think he'd play at all this season, and he's appeared in every game. On 2nd and 10, the delayed to R.Droughns. And he finds his way to the 30 before he was driven back by Dyron Russ and Curtis Poole. Russ, a part of the front 4 for Minnesota. The Gophers, a school record 43 sacks this year. Karan Riley, first team All-Big Ten, led the conference with 16 sacks. The linebackers, Sean Hoffman, a great run stopper, with Ben Mezzera, an excellent pass rusher, and Poole. And the secondary, the Jim Thorpe Award winners, the best defensive back in the nation, Tyrone Carter. Middlebrooks is a standout with Travis Graham listed as a starter, but Wyrick's in there, having overcome the flu. Delvin Jones, the other safety. 3rd down and 6. 1 minute into a scoreless game. The pass caught in the flat. That's Keenan Howry, the true freshman, out of bounds near midfield. Knocked out at the 47. That's a gain of 17 and a 1st down for Oregon.
Little rub play by Oregon. A lot of man-to-man coverage for Minnesota. Here's the Howry here. 2 receivers coming inside, and Howry's just going to come right off the rub there. Howry's going to come outside. His defender is picked off. When you play a lot of man-to-man coverage, you're vulnerable to those kind of crossing or pick plays that defenders like to call it.
26 catches in the regular season for Howry, true freshman from Los Alamitos, California. R.Droughns cuts back and gets buried at the 49-yard line after a gain of 2. Tyrone Carter and Curtis Poole combining on the stop.
Oregon likes to run a lot of zone plays with Ruben R.Droughns. I mean, that seems to be his best play, where they kind of give him the option of going inside or outside, and they just area block on the side that he's running to. He's got the power to run inside, but he's also got the speed to get outside and make a play.
Tyrone Carter came out of the game after making that tackle. He has his helmet off on the near sideline, and Lorenzo Griffin is in, number 26, at his safety spot. Harrington looking to throw. Throws to the far sideline. Incomplete. Good coverage there by Willie Middlebrooks on Marshawn Tucker.
I was sitting next to Mike Bellotti at the luncheon yesterday, and when Willie Middlebrooks came up, as we take a look at Tyrone Carter getting some eye drops in, but when I was sitting next to Bellotti and Middlebrooks came up and introduced with the starting line, he says, this guy is too good, I think. Yep. And when you watch him on film, Willie Middlebrooks has the ability to just lock up on a receiver and take him out of the game. And already early on, he has made a couple plays.
David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota, said the same thing. He says Middlebrooks is as good as anybody in the country. His guy very rarely makes plays. A screen set up for Drones. He's to the 45 of the Gophers, but about 2 yards short of a first down. And that'll bring up 4th down, and Mike Belotti's going to send the punting team on. Jimmy Henry in on the stop for Minnesota.
We mentioned both teams very good at special teams, understand the value of field position. That's why Mike Bellotti going for the punt here, trying to pin Minnesota back and let his defense come on the field, a defense that has played extremely well over the last 3 weeks of the season.
Luke Leverson back for the punt. From Curtis Dorr, a junior from Waterford, Wisconsin, averaging just under 42 yards per punt. He was second team All Pac-10 as selected by the conference coaches this year. Very high and a fair catch signaled by Leverson. He made it to the 11-yard line. The 34-yard punt and no return, and Minnesota goes on offense for the first time right after this. Minnesota on offense for the first time, led by Billy Cockrum, the senior quarterback from Clayton, California. 6'1", 217 pounds, an outstanding runner. In addition to those passing numbers you see, he rushed for 805 yards. He gets it to Thomas Hamner, and they were ready for him. That's P.Sirmon, the best player on the Oregon defense, their leading tackler. For the second time in the last 3 years, again this season, first team All Pac-10 selection this year.
Well, here he is right in front of the official, and you see how quickly they read the play, and Sirmon gets right in there, and Nick Aliotti told us that he is so good at recognizing what the offense is doing. He has great understanding of both the offense and defense. That time just too quick in his reaction to be blocked.
Loss on the play, back to the 8-yard line. 2nd and 13. Typical set for Minnesota is the one-back look with Hamner, a first-team All-Big Ten running back. He took that handoff out to the 14-yard line, where he's tackled by Zach Frater. The Minnesota backs and receivers. There's the one-back Hamner with the 3 receivers, Bruce, Johnson, and Leverson. Haas is the tight end, an excellent blocker. And up front, Ben Hamilton, the center. The son of the former Minnesota Viking guard, Wes Hamilton, is a first-team All-American. But a very solid offensive line. 3rd down and 7. Cochran under pressure, and he is sacked by Dietrich Moore. Back at the 9-yard line.
Dietrich Moore is an outside linebacker. He's going to come from over on this side of the formation, but he's a great edge rusher. They also brought the other linebacker, Matt Smith. Smith was picked up, but nobody there to pick up Dietrich Moore, and therefore the sack by the Ducks. Good defensive series for Oregon right out of the box.
Ryan Rindle's in the punt out of the end zone. Senior from Coon Rapids, Minnesota, booms one over the head of Michael Fletcher and out of bounds at the 26-yard line. A 65-yard punt by Rindle. No score in the first quarter at the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl.
So what's on for today?
Boss wants you, me, and Charlie to take the new Silverado.
The Bodyguard, CBS Saturday.
No score nearly 5 minutes in. Sunday, the NFL on CBS pulls together the playoff puzzle with a season-ending doubleheader. In the first of 2, the AFC East champion Colts battle the Bills. Meanwhile, in the AFC West, the Chiefs and Seahawks are neck and neck. Kansas City hosts Oakland. Seattle visits the Jets. In the nightcap, many of you will see the Dolphins try to stay in the hunt when they take on the Redskins. Check local listings for these and other regional games, beginning with Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry on the NFL Today.
Jim looked like an old option quarterback there. See a little option in this game today.
Second possession, and it's a draw for Oregon. Reuben Drones took the Harrington handoff and got dropped by Tyrone Carter. So he went out during the first stint on defense for Minnesota. Get some eye drops, but he's back in with yet another tackle adding to his school record and the all-time Division 1A record for defensive backs.
He has great tackling technique, too, Sean. I mean, he's not overly big, so he has to play with leverage. He has to use good technique. And when he gets his arms on you, he just doesn't miss many tackles. That's the only way you get over 500 tackles in a career. You have to be a good technique tackler, and Tyrone Carter is.
Second and long. Harrington was 2 for 4 on the first drive. He hands it off to Marshawn Tucker. And an excellent open field tackle by Willie Middlebrooks at the 30-yard line.
We talked about Willie Middlebrooks being a guy who could cover and lock down on a defender and a receiver, but he's 6'2", 194 pounds, too, so he's a pretty physical guy. You see him slip right in here, number 42. He's a big kid for a sophomore out of Florida City, Florida, and David Gibbs really thinks he's going to be a great, great player.
Also interesting on the replay to see how aggressively Drones went out there to block, leading that play, their star running back. Lone back is the fullback, Todd Brooks. Harrington throws, almost intercepted. It was Curtis Poole, the linebacker, who knocked down that ball, and Oregon will punt again.
I think Oregon thought by putting Reuben Drones out as a wide receiver on that play, Sean, that they would maybe draw attention away from where they wanted to throw the football. He's trying to get it to his tight end. A good break by Curtis Poole, but Reuben Drones was actually out as the wide receiver, but it didn't fool Minnesota. They knew the ball was going to the tight end.
Luke Leverson back for the second punt from Curtis Dorr. His first traveled 34 yards in Minnesota back at the 11-yard line. Gophers should get better field position after this punt. Very little breeze in the stadium right now. Another very high nose-up spiral. And the fair catch made by Leverson at the 30. A 40-yard punt with no return. So good work early by the punters as Minnesota meets Oregon in the 66th Sun Bowl from El Paso. Scoreless tie nearly midway through the first quarter. Oregon on defense for the second time. Forced a Minnesota punt after the first Gopher possession. Up front, the foursome of Miller, Frater, Talay, and Patu. The strength of the defense, the linebackers. P.Sirmon was first-team All-Pac-10. Smith and Moore, second-team All-Pac-10 selections. Veteran safeties in the senior, Michael Fletcher, first-team All-Pac-10 this year, and Brandon McLemore making his 35th career start. Wilcox, converted safety, now playing corner. Cockerham scrambles on first down and goes down for a loss back to the 28-yard line. Saul Patu with the heat on Billy Cockerham.
One thing about this Oregon defense now is they are not as big as what Minnesota's used to seeing in the Big Ten, but they can really run. They really run to the football. There's Nick Aliotti back at Eugene, back where he belongs, doing a great job again back here at Oregon. And this defense, again, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, really starting to play well.
Cockerham out of the shotgun, throws to the near side, complete to Arlen Bruce. Short of a first down. This is Nick Aliotti's second stint as defensive coordinator at Oregon. He was a hero a couple of years ago when the gangrene defense led Oregon on the improbable run to the Rose Bowl. And then he left with Rich Brooks to go to the NFL. That staff was fired at the St. Louis Rams. Aliotti spent a tumultuous year last year at UCLA and has returned to Oregon. Cockerham throws, intercepted on the near sideline.
What a play by Fletcher.
Michael Fletcher, the senior from Compton, California, delivering the big play for Nick Aliotti. He was voted as the most valuable player on the Oregon team this year by his teammates. And that's his 4th interception of the season to lead the Ducks.
Well, what Billy Cockerham is seeing right here is he's seeing his receiver get to this open area. It's soft coverage here, and the safety's coming over the top. But he doesn't throw it with enough zip. He kind of lays it up there with too much air, and that allows Fletcher to get over and make the play. There's a hole there, but you better shoot it in there. And Fletcher gets over and makes a great interception.
And Cockerham does not have a strong arm. He's had a very good season, but he certainly does not have a cannon. And a big play by Fletcher. Oregon with its best field position. Harrington's pass knocked down. John Schlecht, the defensive tackle, junior from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, made the play.
Jeff Tedford said in watching Minnesota on film, I mean, Tyrone Carter is a great player, but he thinks John Schleck's the best player in this defense in the front seven. I mean, he is a guy who has a relentless motor, gets off the ball very quickly, and then just keeps fighting. And that time did a nice job of reading the quarterback's eyes.
He was not recruited by the Gophers out of high school in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Weighed just 210 pounds. He spent a year at a Division II school, St. Cloud State in Minnesota. Wanted to go play for the Gophers, so he walked on, spent a year on the scout team, and earned a scholarship as he dominated against the regular offense while a member of the scout team. That's T.Hartley on the catch, Tyrone Carter on the tackle at the 40, and the Ducks need about 6 to convert on 3rd down.
We talked about Tyrone Carter having to be a great tackler. This play, the tackle that he made on this play is outstanding because this play looked like it had some room to go. The wide receiver screamed, but watch the sure tackle by Tyrone Carter. He gets his arms around the ankles. He won't let go. There were some blockers out in front of the receiver. It could have been a big play if it weren't for Tyrone Carter.
I guess if you have more than 500 career tackles, you have to be a good tackler.
You're right.
3rd down, call it 7. The short 7, the heavy rush on Harrington. He throws on the run, man wide open, but short of a first down, it seems. T.Hartley, a veteran along the near sideline. Tough to tell from our vantage point if he got the necessary yardage. He did not. Harrington wants to go for it as he gestures over at Mike Malati.
You would expect a veteran receiver like T.Hartley to know what he needs for the first down. You see he's not moving back to the quarterback. He's got his feet still. He's got to make sure he gets beyond that first down marker. There's the marker on the sideline. He can see what the first down is needed. He's got to make sure he gets beyond that to catch the football.
They're going to try a long field goal from Nathan Villegas, the senior from Corona, California. Folks, he has a completely torn ACL in his right leg. That's his kicking leg. But he is kicking field goals. A 52-yard try, blocked. And the Gophers will take over at the 38-yard line. Joey Harrington came up with the football. He's the holder. But the Gophers talk about the importance of special teams. There's the first major big play by either team on special teams. Minnesota blocked 3 punts during the regular season, and now they blocked the field goal.
Well, I don't think it was a real clean snap and hold. You see the pressure coming from the inside, and anytime a kicker is going for that extra long field goal, the tendency is to try to drive the ball and not get the necessary height. That was a low kick and a good block by Minnesota.
It looked like he just kicked it in the line. Yeah. Tyron Russ was the nearest Gopher in the middle on the field goal block team. Thomas Hamner, the ball carrier on first down, or a yard out to the 40-yard line. No score. We're down to 6:15 left in the first quarter. At the Sun Bowl, Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Michelle Tafoya.
One thing we haven't seen yet from Minnesota is an option with Billy Cockrum, with the pitch man being Hamner, and I would expect to see that very soon against this aggressive Oregon defense.
Here comes the option. Good call by Coach Blackledge. And Viva Talay made the tackle on Billy Cockrum.
They're not real fancy with what they do with the option. It's just a speed option. It doesn't require a lot of extra coaching, but they run it enough that they force you as a defense to prepare for it. They run it 6 to 10 times a game, so the defense has to spend time getting ready for it, and it's a very effective weapon because of the running ability of Cockrum.
He has 4.5 speed. Minnesota, one of the few big-time schools that recruited him to play quarterback, and that's one of the biggest reasons why he went there. Most teams wanted to play defensive back. There's a good throw and catch by Ron Johnson at the 44-yard line of the Ducks for a first down. He beat Brian Johnson in coverage. 13 yards.
Nice patience by Cockrum, Sean, because he read that this was a 3-man rush. Oregon's been bringing pressure. This time they just bring 3 and they play zone, and he has to stay in there and read it. He knows he has time. He's got 5 blockers blocking 3. He's got to wait for something opens up in the zone, and he finds Johnson for the first down. Good patience in the pocket by Billy Cockrum.
37 receptions now for Johnson, the sophomore from Detroit. He's the son of Ron Johnson Sr., who played quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers on a couple of Super Bowl winning teams. By Luke Leverson inside the 10-yard line. Justin Wilcox had tight coverage, but Leverson managed to make the catch, and it'll be first and goal for the Gophers after a gain of 37.
You know, Justin Wilcox is going to be mad at Brandon McLemore in this play because the safety never hollered to the corner the ball was coming. You can see Wilcox doesn't know the ball's coming. The safety's coming over to make a play. but he's got to holler for his corner to yell ball, 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 so Wilcox can get his eyes around and find the football.
First and goal, Minnesota from the 8, looking for the game's first score. Cockerham in the flat to Hamner with some running room inside the 5 and bang down on a sturdy hit by Michael Fletcher at the 4-yard line. Hamner, a senior from Hamilton, Ohio. As a sophomore in high school, he weighed 140 pounds. He was a backup wide receiver on his high school team. They needed a tailback on the scout team. So he went over and played tailback and started running through his high school's first-team defense. The varsity coach said to him, "You're a tailback from now on." And he has excelled ever since. He gets the call again and gets inside the 2, tackled by P.Sirmon and Michael Fletcher. And it'll be 3rd down and goal. Hamner's been Minnesota's leading rusher in all 4 of his seasons. The last 3 for Coach Mason, and in '96 he played for Jim Wacker.
I think the other thing that's remarkable about him is he doesn't fumble the football. I mean, he is a very, very dependable, reliable guy who gets a lot of touches, a lot of carries, and does not fumble the football.
He's fumbled once every 184 touches in his career. 3rd best among active players with more than 500 touches in college football. Cockerham throwing the fade, and it is caught for a touchdown by Ron Johnson.
This is what they like to do with Ron Johnson. He's 6'3", 212 pounds. You see how he gave himself a lot of room to the outside, and then Cockerham just throws the ball up for him. It's a mismatch going against Brian Johnson at 5'9". They've done that all season. Throw the fade to the corner to big Ron Johnson.
Officially a 1-yard touchdown reception. Johnson's had at least 1 catch in every game the last 2 seasons. His 2 seasons in Minneapolis. Dan Nystrom, the freshman, added the extra point. This touchdown pass completed a 62-yard drive. It took 7 plays, and the Gophers lead 7-0. Sun Bowl, the Minnesota marching band in celebration of the touchdown. And this success of the football program has given the University of Minnesota a much-needed lift. This is a school that has been coming through a very damaging academic scandal in its men's basketball program. The performance of the football Gophers really lifted the spirits around the Twin Cities throughout the great state of Minnesota. Western Greening's kickoff into the end zone. Sonny Cook's going to try to run it out. Bad decision. He stopped short of the 10-yard line. First down, Tyrone Carter. The Jim Thorpe Award winner, best defensive back in the nation. Also out there on special teams and adding to his record-breaking tackle total.
How many times you see a Jim Thorpe Award winner, 2-time All-American, 4-year starter running down covering kickoffs? You just don't see it very much in college football and any level of football, but that's the kind of player Tyrone Carter is. Loves the game.
Oregon trailing 7-0 with its worst starting field position. They haven't done much on offense. Ducks average 35 points per game. 4th straight year under Mike Bellotti. They've averaged more than 30 points a game. Harrington, 4 out of 8 passing to this point. Throws on the run, knocked down. Willie Middlebrooks again. There is a flag down thrown in the defensive secondary. T.Hartley, the intended receiver.
Well, they went best on best. The best receiver, T.Hartley, against the best cover guy in Middlebrooks. And this time Middlebrooks got caught with the contact, grabbing the arm, grabbing the jersey. And Oregon is going to have to hit some pass plays, Sean, because Minnesota is just stacking 8, 9 guys in the box. I mean, they're not going to let R.Droughns beat them running the football. They're going to invite them to throw. And Joey Harrington is going to have to hit some plays throwing the football to loosen up this defense. There's the contact. Left arm around the waist, right arm making contact over the top. T.Hartley did a good job of keeping his body between the football and the defender.
The officials today are from the WAC. That's the first penalty. Frank White is the referee. The Ducks out to the 19-yard line now. Harrington looked like he juggled the ball for a moment. Reuben Drones, a short gain to the 20, pulled down by Sean Hoffman. Now it's time for our Sun America virtual playbook.
I mentioned earlier the zone play. There's an inside zone and outside running play, and Oregon runs them both. And Reuben Drones gives you the combination of being able to run inside or outside. And the key to the play is, first of all, you have to protect the backside. The fullback goes and protects the backside. You area block on the front side and give the runner an inside or outside go. Just block areas up front. Let him make the decision what he sees. Reuben Drones has done a great job running that play this year, but so far, too many white jerseys in there, not enough blockers. Hard time to run right now.
While Drones ties his shoe, Herman Ho Ching comes in the backfield. He's the receiver. Out to the 27-yard line, close to a first down. Again, Willie Middlebrooks in on the play. Ho Ching saw considerable action this season when Drones was battling a rib injury. Herman is a sophomore from Long Beach, California, third on the team in rushing, despite playing in only 6 games this year. Unfortunately for Herman, he was involved in one of the most memorable negative plays for Oregon this year in the season opener. Looked like they were driving to take the lead late against Michigan State. He fumbled, and the Spartans went on to victory. Coaching again. Leaps over the pile and has the first down. On third down, a little more than a yard. He got out to the 30 before Tyrone Carter made the tackle again, and that one stung Herman Ho Ching.
You take a look right here. Look at all these white shirts. 9 guys in there. I mean, they are going to force Oregon to throw the football most of the day. This is a short yardage play, and they get good blocking at the point of attack. Good block by the fullback, Todd Brooks, enables Ho Ching to get the first down. But Minnesota is going to just put all those people in there, play bump and run, man-to-man on the outside, and as David Gibbs told us, hope for a lot of long foul balls. That's his philosophy on defense.
Ho Ching still down. Well, actually, we're told it's not Ho Ching now. We're told from the sideline that it's Josh Beckett, number 53, the right tackle, senior from Rancho Santa Margarita, California, who was second team All Pac-10 this year for Mike Bellotti.
It looks like what they may have to do here, Sean, they've been very thin on the offensive line, and it looks like they may take their center, Deke Moen, and move him outside and bring Ryan Schmidt, the back up center, in. We may see Moen move to right tackle or right guard, but they have been very thin at that position, and Beckett has been one of their top players.
He looks to be all right now as he heads off the field.
Here he is right here, number 53. Take a look as they're going on this short yardage play. Comes off to the second level. And you're right, looks like he may have even gotten a knee right underneath the shoulder pads. May have just knocked the wind out of him there.
Collided with Sean Hoffman. First and 10, Oregon at the 30. Ticking down to 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Minnesota has a 7-0 lead. Ryan Schmidt is in at center. Moen has moved out to guard. The handoff to Marshawn Tucker. A 3-yard scamper for the junior from Chula Vista, California. Chased out by the safety, Delvin Jones.
I think one thing that play right there shows to Mike Bellotti and to the Oregon coaches is that maybe the assumption you would make about the Minnesota defense is that they're big, they're physical, maybe they don't run as well as some of the defenses we see in the Pac-10, but this defense runs very well. The secondary covers a lot of ground. The linebackers can run pretty well. It's a much faster defense on the field than you would imagine watching them on film.
Reuben Drones back in at tailback now with the fullback Todd Brooks offset. Again, the delay to Drones. Burst of speed, a first down and more. Tackled by Tyrone Carter near midfield. Reuben Drones all the way out to the 49-yard line. A gain of 16 and a first down for Oregon.
First time that he's gotten a little bit of room. Again, there's a lot of bodies in there, but he does a nice job just kind of staying with the play. It's a delay. He breaks a couple tackles. You see the difference between Delvin Jones and Tyrone Carter. Delvin Jones has a shot. He misses the tackle. Tyrone Carter doesn't. But the first time, Drones has had a little running room in there, and he makes a big play.
Drones, due to injury, has appeared in just 15 games in his 2 years at Oregon as a junior college transfer out of Merced in California. Played in 15 games, has rushed for 100 yards or more in 10 of them. Harrington going deep to the near side and incomplete over the head of Marshawn Tucker. Joey Harrington, now 5 out of 10. He's the son of a former Oregon quarterback, and Oregon is a school with a history of producing terrific quarterbacks. Joey's dad, John, was the quarterback for the Ducks in the late 60s. They had Orman Brockland, Dan Fouts, Chris Miller, of course, Killy Smith last year, Bill Musgrave, and now Joey Harrington, very highly recruited player out of Central Catholic. His dad was also the quarterback at Central Catholic, as were his brothers Pat, Mark, Brian, and Tom. They all played quarterback at Central Catholic, and Joey's younger brother Michael was the quarterback there this year. And he throws it right into the ground. Looked like they were trying to set up a screen that was well defended. So he just threw it at the feet of R.Droughns to avoid the loss, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Good defense by Minnesota. They were expecting that screen, were not fooled, not out of position, and then a good decision by Joey Harrington. It's not there. Don't take the sack. Don't try to force something. At least give yourself a 3rd down and 10 situation instead of 3rd and real long.
There's David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator at Minnesota. If he looks young to you, it's because he is. He's 31 years old. The son of Alex Gibbs, the assistant head coach, offensive line coach with the Denver Broncos. David was a fine player at Colorado, was a defensive back. Harrington in trouble and sacked. Tyron Rush with the first sack for Minnesota all the way back at the 36-yard line.
Here's Rush right here. Here he's going to just get quick pressure. You see there's 2 guys kind of waiting, and Joey Harrington just kind of moved towards the defender. Didn't set up clean in the pocket. It's kind of a half roll, and Tyron Rush just kind of runs right between 2 blockers and gets to the quarterback. Did not look like a very good pass protection scheme that time for Oregon.
Curtis Dorr to punt to Luke Leverson. Interesting matchup in that Oregon gave up a Pac-10 low 14 sacks this year. Minnesota had the school record with 43 sacks, including the Big Ten leader. Ron Riley with 16. Good punt. Leverson caught it inside the 10. And he brings it back to the 16-yard line. Tripped up by P.Sirmon. We talk about the best players playing on special teams for these 2 teams. There's Sirmon, their leading tackler. Down to make the tackle after a return of 8, a 56-yard punt by Curtis Dorr. Friends, get a complete wrap-up of the Sun Bowl, plus relive the college football season in the 1999 archive. Just click on NCAA football at cbs.sportsline.com or in America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline. 7-0 Minnesota, 1st and 10. On the final play of the first quarter, it's Thomas Hamner out to the 19. It is the end of the first quarter with the score. Minnesota 7 and Oregon nothing. We'll return to the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl right after this message and a word from your local station. Back in El Paso, the 66th Sun Bowl. And Minnesota leads after 1 quarter, 7-0 on a 1-yard touchdown pass. Billy Cockerham to Ron Johnson. Minnesota has the ball as the 2nd quarter begins. 2nd and 8. Hand off to Hamner, straight ahead. Yields nothing. He was tackled by the defensive end, Terry Miller. Well, what do you think after 1 quarter?
Well, I think the trend of the bowl season this year, Sean, has been the defenses have played better than the offenses, and that's the way it is this game. Both defenses, I think, are playing very well, and they're playing a similar style. They're both putting 8 or 9 people around the box. inviting the offenses to throw the football. Both quarterbacks are going to have to make some plays throwing the football.
You have to take up so much space in our window here.
My mama made me big. I can't help it.
Moving along the line, but no flags. 3rd down and 7. Cochran sacked. Taken down by Garrett Sable, reserve linebacker, junior from Buena Park, California. Plays primarily on special teams, but he was in there in that passing situation, and that's the first Oregon sack.
Oregon likes to move around, do a lot of stunts, a lot of twists on the inside, and that time good coverage downfield allowed Sable to kind of fall off his rush and make the sack. But again, the twisting and the movement up front created some confusion for Minnesota.
Ryan Rindles to punt. Moved a 65-yarder. In the first quarter, Michael Fletcher back for it. He returnable almost never calls for a fair catch, and no reason to on that low line drive punt. That Fletcher runs back into Minnesota territory to the 48-yard line. A 40-yard punt, but very low, and that enabled Fletcher to bring it back 12 yards. Let's go to Dan Rather in Times Square with a Countdown 2000 update.
A swelling crowd here in Times Square. It's Countdown to 2000. A massive police presence is on hand. More than 1.5 million people now expected here by midnight. Yeltsin has resigned in Russia. U.S. monitors say Russian nuclear forces are secure. Much of Russia is already in the new year. Asia begins the year with financial confidence high. Stock market setting records. A cell phone jam at midnight in Tokyo. The FAA says airlines around the world are operating smoothly. Dan Rather, the countdown continues from CBS News.
I am sick and tired of losing.
It's better to give than receive.
Point. On first down for the Minnesota 48. Reuben Drones, excellent moves through traffic. Now he's in the clear. Fumble. And the Gophers have it at the 10-yard line. Willie Middlebrooks recovered the fumble. It looked like Karan Riley, the defensive end, running way downfield, knocked that ball away from Drones.
Boy, a lot of great individual efforts on this play, Sean. It's a great cut and a run by Reuben Drones. This play, the counter was shut down at the point of attack, but watch the quick plant and the cut back across the grain, and then the burst, the speed you see. And then, as you mentioned, the pressure from the backside, chasing the play. You're right, Karan Riley running all the way from his defensive end position to knock the ball loose. And a big break for Minnesota.
31 yards on the rush, and then the fumble. So the Gophers are back on offense from the 10. Billy Cochran, the quarterback, the son of a coach. His dad, Bill, was a college assistant at several schools, now a high school coach in California. Young Billy, running for his life, goes out of bounds at the 13, chased out by Terry Miller. There's Karan Riley, who made the big play, and he's made a lot of them this year. The junior from Detroit, Michigan. The conference leading 16 sacks. He transferred from SMU. Sat out last year after spending 2 years at SMU. When there was the coaching change there, he decided he wasn't happy. Felt he'd play at a better level of competition in the Big Ten. He originally wanted to go to Kansas out of high school, but to play for Glenn Mason, who was then the head coach of the Jayhawks. But he had been hearing that Mason was likely to leave Kansas. Now he's back with Mason in Minnesota. Deep throw and a good catch, and then the ball comes out, and they'll rule it an incomplete pass. Ron Johnson had it for a moment in traffic, but Justin Wilcox knocked it out, and it's an incomplete pass.
Yeah, it was an excellent play by Wilcox, Sean. The last time he gave up a big play because he couldn't find the football. Watch him this time as he reads the receiver and then gets his hands up in between the chest and the football and drives it out of there. Real nice play by Justin Wilcox on a big receiver, Ron Johnson. But Wilcox is a big corner, too. He's 6'3", 203, so he matches up body for body pretty well against Ron Johnson.
He had been a safety prior to this year. They had a devastating injury. Rashad Bauman was going to be their starting cornerback. He injured his knee in the spring, had surgery, missed the whole year. So Wilcox moved out to corner, and the second-team All-Pac-10 this year. Nick Aliotta told us he doesn't want to jinx him. But Wilcox hasn't given up a touchdown pass all year. Elvin Jones, the receiver for Minnesota, out of bounds with an apparent first down. He has it out at the 21-yard line. Just the second catch of the season for Jones. He saw very limited action during the regular season.
Really a nice audible by Cockrum that time. He read the blitz, so he knew he was going to have man-to-man coverage, and he just audible to the little quick hook to get the first down. Single coverage outside. Nice read by Cockrum and a good throw.
Cockrum, a starter in and out last year, struggled with his decision-making more than anything else. Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator, said he's been much better in that area this year. That's been the biggest part of his improvement. He threw that pass behind Jones. And it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Gophers. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, you guys, after Oregon gave up the Minnesota touchdown, all of the defensive assistants went to their players and immediately said, it's okay, don't worry about it, keep playing hard. But the problem they have been working on and trying to solve is how to get more pressure on Billy Cockrum. In fact, that was the Ducks' #1 defensive goal coming into this game. Start by stopping the quarterback. Back to you.
Cockrum straight back on this play. Now flush from the pocket. Shows off his speed as he sprints out to the 28-yard line, 3 yards short of the first down. Credit Matt Smith and Terry Miller with the tackle.
This is where a quarterback like Cockrum can really hurt you. When you get your pressure coming from the outside, you get good pressure and collapse the pocket. He has the ability and the quickness to take it right up the middle of your defense and get close to the first down. He has great explosiveness from the quarterback position as a runner.
And he has set the single-season total offense record at Minnesota with his performance this year. He and Hamner, as a duo in any offensive backfield in the country this year, are #1 in combined rushing yards. Cockrum with the pitch to Hamner. He has the first down. Out to the 35-yard line. Again, it was Justin Wilcox on the tackle.
Sean, Minnesota does not use a fullback very often, but when they do, it's Brad Frigg, number 25. He's not a very big guy, but he does his job here. He gets a great block on the safety, McLemore. Most of the time, Minnesota is in a one-back set with 3 or 4 wide receivers. They very seldomly use that fullback. That time, Frigg came in and got an excellent block on the short yardage play.
Now Byron Evans in as the lone back to give Hamner a breather. Cockrum goes to another first down as he stumbled down across the 45. Looks from here as if he has the first down. He had 4 100-yard rushing games this season and 4 200-yard passing games. And when he gets to either one of those numbers, 100 yards rushing or 200 passing, Minnesota does not lose. They're 7-0 in either of those instances.
Now, Michelle talked about how can you get more pressure on Cockrum, but even when you do get a little pressure, he has the ability to beat pressure because of his ability to run the football. And it really creates more problems for your defense. A quarterback like this, very difficult to defend when he's playing with confidence.
Was a first down. Byron Evans remains the running back. Cockrum to the near side. Excellent coverage, and the pass incomplete. Brian Johnson in front of Ron Johnson, who wanted a flag, but that just looked like good position on the part of Brian Johnson inside Ron Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson here going at it. You see the ball needs to be thrown over the outside shoulder away from the defender, but it's back to the inside, and Ron Johnson just can't get through the defender. He has a right to be there. That's Brian Johnson, and a good no call by the official.
Some hand fighting, but you've seen most of the time in college football this year, they let that kind of thing go. Brian Johnson's a junior college transfer from Mount San Antonio. Quarterback draw. And Cockrum slipped down at the 49. Like he ran into his center, Ben Hamilton. Tomorrow, get a look at the changing styles, the changing images, the burgeoning international competition. It's the game of golf. Where it's been and where it's going. PGA Tour 2000 golf at the turn tomorrow at 3. And tomorrow on the CBS Sports Spectacular, superstars heat up the slopes out at Steamboat in the Sprint U.S. Freestyle Grand National. That's at 4 Eastern time tomorrow. 10th play of this Minnesota drive. On 3rd down, they do not pick up the first down on the pitch to Hamner. He went down at the Oregon 47, perhaps the 46, but he needed to get just inside the 45, and Glenn Mason has a decision to make.
Good job by both of the safeties for the Oregon defense that time. McLemore and Fletcher both there running to the football and stopping the option short of the first down.
Ryan Rendles is on the punt, and the snapper is Derek Rackley, senior, Apple Valley, Minnesota. And we'll tell you his interesting story as time permits. He's a graduate student in actuality at the University of Minnesota. Good punt by Rendles. Can they down it? Yes, they can. Inside the 1. It's down by Fred Rogers, a 45-yard punt. And perfect execution by the Gophers. So Oregon will begin inside its own 1-yard line, trailing 7-0 in the second quarter.
When was the last time you felt 284
by Sun America? Rogaine, Zocor, and by Powerbar.
I told you about Derek Rackley, the long snapper for the University of Minnesota. He graduated last spring, took a good job in sales at General Mills in the Minneapolis area. Thought his academic days and football days were over. Then over the summer, he stopped by the football complex. Glenn Mason said to him, you know, if you want to come back and play, we're going to be a much improved team. You want to take one more crack at it? And he decided to return, but he still works at General Mills. There's R.Droughns on first down from the 1, getting them some breathing room out to the 4-yard line. Curtis Poole made the tackle. And most days, Rackley goes to work about 6 o'clock in the morning, puts in a very long day, and then if he can, he goes over to football practice in the afternoon. A couple of days a week, he takes graduate courses. But he doesn't always go to practice.
They actually said that he's been there more than they expected him to be there this year. And one thing that's really helped with that situation this year, too, is that Minnesota had 7 home games. And so he didn't have to travel away from town and leave his job as much as he would have had they not had so many home games. So it worked out great for Derek Rackley and Minnesota.
Deke Moen, their best offensive lineman, senior from Vancouver, Washington, was injured on the play.
You know, Willie Middlebrooks, their best cover guy for Minnesota, is not in this series. He's on the sideline for Minnesota as well with an ice pack on. So try to find out what is wrong with him. But that is certainly an opportunity for Oregon, even though this field position, not a great place to try to throw the football from. But it is a good situation for them if Middlebrooks can't come back into the game. He was by far their best cover corner.
Deke Moen making his 28th straight start today. Honorable mention all Pac-10. Had back problems earlier in his career, had back surgery between his sophomore and junior years. And there's Middlebrooks on the Minnesota sideline with the medical staff.
Got an ice pack on the back of his neck. He's made a couple real hard tackles here in this first half already. He's come up against the running game and made some tough tackles. And
Moen goes off. Josh Beckett has returned after a momentary stinger. The right tackle, Ryan Schmidt, comes in at center. He's seen plenty of playing time. Here comes Carter on a blitz. And the pass incomplete. Safety blitz from Tyrone Carter, and Joey Harrington had to get rid of it quickly. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
It was well timed by Tyrone Carter, too. You see nobody there to pick him up off the play action, and Harrington knows he has to get rid of the football or else give up the sack. You see David Gibbs and the Minnesota staff, they're asking for grounding. And if it would have been a penalty, it would have been a safety against Oregon because it would have occurred in the end zone.
It was close with the safety call not made, so now 3rd down and 7. Harrington on the design roll, hit as he throws, and it is incomplete. And a flag thrown. And ball came down way short of Marshawn Tucker.
Well, the ball is thrown well short because there's a serious hit by Tyrone Carter on the quarterback, and then Jimmy Wyrick is in coverage, and they wave it off. There was a little contact, but the ball was so underthrown that it's a good job by the officials to wave that off and not make a call.
That ball wasn't going to be catchable. And boy, we haven't seen Carter in person this year.
Yeah, he's impressive.
He is very impressive. Seems like he's a factor on every play. Just 5'7½". David Gibbs, Glenn Mason's defensive coordinator, says he thinks because of his size, Carter will probably only be a 6th, 7th round draft choice in the NFL, maybe not even drafted. And he thinks he's going to make somebody's NFL team and play for a long time if a team will give him a chance, even at his size. Door on the punt. A timeout called by Oregon. They only had 10 men on the field. 9 minutes left in the first half. 7-0 Minnesota.
Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
The Pac-10 continues to take some hits. It was a down year, certainly, for that conference, and they haven't helped this year with the 0-3 performance in bowls. 1-8 the last 2 seasons. Arizona's win over Nebraska in the Holiday Bowl last year, the 1 win. It's been a terrific bowl season so far for Big Ten teams. And how about Illinois? We talked about the great turnaround job that Glenn Mason has done, but Ron Turner with the Illini, his team hammered Virginia. I'm going to let you handle the last line.
Well, they finally they put it together and played real well in the Alamo Bowl, and it was a good way for Joe to end the season, and also Jerry Sandusky.
Gore from the back of the end zone, a new snapper, because Mullen is the regular snapper. He went off a moment ago. It's Matt Smith, the linebacker, with a decent snap. And Gore gets the punt off, not a particularly long one. Leverson goes down on a knee at the 41-yard line. Excellent field position for Minnesota. There's Smith. Didn't exactly fire a bullet back there with the snap, but he has a good arm. We know that. He was a baseball pitcher in the Kansas City Royals organization. Matt Smith is 23 years old, out of high school. Thought he might go to Stanford to play football, but then he was drafted in the 1st round by the Kansas City Royals, the 16th selection overall. So he decided to pursue baseball. Spent 5 years in minor league baseball, 4 years as a hitter. He hit .243 his last year in '98. They made him a pitcher, and he had elbow problems. Went 0-3. On first down, Thomas Hamner on the run. And Smith was out of football for 5 years before returning a week prior to the start of the season last year. And he's become a standout. He caught back up with his football prowess very quickly.
A very good run stuffer for Oregon. He missed the last 2 games, and even though Oregon played excellent defense in the last 2 football games, they missed him. He is their best run support guy on the inside.
He's a junior. 1 more year of football eligibility. Second and 8. Hocker him out of the shotgun. Goes to the far side. Missed tackle, and Leverson turns it into a gain to the 33. Here's Michelle.
Well, Sean, outside linebacker Dietrich Moore got leg whip and has a deep shin bruise. You can see the ice there on his left shin. They're going to continue to ice it. He is questionable, but he did tell Mike Bellotti he thinks he'll be okay and able to return. As for center Deke Moen, he has a laceration between his ring finger and his pinky finger. They're going to stitch it up and see how he responds before they decide whether or not he'll come back in. Sean?
All right, Michelle, thank you. Brad Prigge comes in at fullback now. And 3rd down and 2. Movement prior to the snap.
Well, Cochran was trying to get his motion man to go, and the motion man didn't want to go, and then there was movement on the other side.
The snap. False start. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
The right tackle, number 73. Well, I think move first, and then Terry Miller move for Oregon.
It's a tough penalty for Minnesota. See, Cochran's trying to get him to move, and then meanwhile there's movement in here by Josh Rawlings, and again a tough penalty. They go from a 3rd down and short where they could run the football now more into a passing situation or an option situation at 3rd and 5.
And a timeout called by Cochran with the play clock under 5. 8 minutes left in the first half. Minnesota 7 and Oregon nothing.
Well, when I got hurt.
Beautiful El Paso, Texas, at the westernmost tip of Texas. And coming up on the AXA halftime report, we'll have performances from both bands, these two fine schools, results of the Sportsline Millennium Poll, and look back at our favorite plays of the year. All that coming up on the AXA halftime report with Michelle Tafoya. A moments ago, Willie Middlebrooks left the field. And the University of Minnesota's policy is not to release injury information to the television crew. So we can't tell you why he's leaving.
Well, when he was on the sideline, he had an ice pack on his neck.
3rd down and 7 after the Golden Gophers timeout. And a running play to Hamner. And they weren't fooled. P.Sirmon again for a loss back to the 40-yard line.
Big defensive play. Sirmon coming from the backside did a nice job of chasing that play down. He came from all the way on the other side of the formation. He was lined up in his linebacker position on the other side and ran through and made the tackle on Hamner. Great play by Sirmon. And again, the penalty that forced him into the longer situation, Minnesota had a chance to really put more points on the board on this drive.
Sirmon and Carter, the standouts. These two teams, and both have been exceptional today. Sirmon already with 10 tackles. Ryan Rindle's punt, and that time they couldn't keep it out of the end zone. It looked like another punt that would be downed by Fred Rogers at the 1-yard line. Mr. Rogers couldn't come up with that one.
He was there. He was in the neighborhood, wasn't he? He was in the right neighborhood. He just couldn't make the play. Couldn't make the catch, but another great punt by Rindle, getting it up in the air and letting him make a chance.
There's P.Sirmon, who was not in uniform for the Aloha Bowl last year because of a torn muscle in his chest. He did not play after the 3rd game of the year, but the bowl trip was memorable for Peter when he was at the airport in Eugene, waiting to travel on the charter with the Ducks out to Hawaii. He saw a young lady who caught his eye. On 1st down, it's R.Droughns for a loss on the play. Tackled by Ben Mesera. The young lady who caught Sirmon's attention turned out to be Lindsey Jones, who was the daughter of team orthopedist Dr. Don Jones. And Sirmon made it a point to strike up some conversation with Lindsey on the trip out to Hawaii. And within 2 days, they had decided they were going to get married.
Yeah.
And in July, they did get married. Just 7 months after they met. 2nd down and 12. Go to the far sideline, caught by T.Hartley. And yet another tackle by Tyrone Carter. Saturday on CBS, she was a one-woman show until she met the one man willing to give his life for her.
On there, Tom Osborne, the special teams coach for Oregon, wears one of those in practice. Has a little PA system.
Well, some nifty maneuvering in the backfield, and a 1st down out to the 33. As you saw in the previous play, Tyrone Carter made a solo tackle, and he now owns the NCAA record for solo tackles. You mentioned he already had the all-time Division 1A record for tackles, total tackles by a defensive back, and the Minnesota total tackle record. But now he has 402 solo tackles.
It is amazing when you watch him play, Sean, because when he gets to the ball carrier goes backwards. I mean, he's only 185 pounds, but when he shows up, the play stops. And then he is just an outstanding open field tackler.
1st and 10. Played big by Joey Harrington. And he throws over the head of his tight end, Justin Peel. He had to get rid of it because Karan Riley was right there. Another record-setting day for Tyrone Carter. There were the numbers coming in with 5 solo tackles today. He breaks the Division 1A record for solo tackles. Greg Garnica of Ball State at 401 back in the late 80s.
Saw Karan Riley with that pressure again, and Oregon trying to roll away from him, and he just uses his speed. He makes the inside move and has great acceleration, also a 4-5 guy to get pressure on the quarterback.
Harrington setting up the screen again. Drones can't get away. They had him around the ankles. John Schlecht had him by the ankle and would not let Drones escape.
Well, Karan Riley's going to make the play, but watch, he's going to drop in coverage first instead of rushing the passer. He's going to drop in coverage and then read the screen. He's a defensive end, but he's playing like a stand-up linebacker and comes right around the blockers to make the play. You see the athletic ability of Karan Riley, a defensive end playing well out in space. And Schlecht comes from the inside to make the sure tackle.
3rd and long, 3rd and 14. Harrington hit again by Tyrone Carter.
See, Sean, what's happening right now is Minnesota, and David Gibbs says this quarterback has not made any plays against our man-to-man and against our pressure. So until they beat us, we are just going to keep bringing the house. We're going to bring safeties. We're going to bring linebackers. And until he makes a play, we're not going to change what we're doing. They're just going to keep bringing the heat and see if this quarterback can make any plays. And so far, Joey Harrington in the first half has not been able to make anything happen.
I don't care how short he is. He should be playing on somebody's NFL team next year.
Yeah, he can play.
Deke Mullen back in to snap for Curtis Dorr. Took a long time to get that one off. Luke Leverson tries the near sideline, and he gets upended at the 37-yard line. 40-yard punt, 6-yard return. Garrett Sable made the tackle for the Ducks. Next Saturday on CBS, join Dick Clark for the biggest game show in TV history. From the creator of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, don't miss Winning Lines. Premieres next Saturday on CBS.
When you're talking about Tyrone Carter, as you see him on the sideline, he has a little headache, all these tackles he's making. But
there's a pitch to Antoine Henderson coming around. They weren't fooled. Henderson's not an every down player because of his size. He's just 5'7", but Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator, told us when he does touch it, he usually is in for that kind of trickery, in there to make a big play because he does have excellent speed, and you can see the average yards per touch. He does make big plays on the rare occasions he handles it.
Obviously, that didn't go unnoticed by Nick Aliotti and the Oregon staff because they were expecting some trickery when Henderson came in the ballgame.
Garrett Sable made the tackle on Henderson. He's 5'7", 163 pounds. Henderson, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the junior. 2nd and 12. Cochran, that looked like a lateral. Arlen Bruce trying to cut back to the middle of the field. Runs into Ryan Roth, his guard, and goes down at the 33-yard line. Officially a rushing play. Garrett Sable, a backup linebacker, who hasn't played very much on defense, primarily a special teams player. He's made several tackles, 5 of them now for the junior.
He's in there for Dietrich Moore, who is out with the leg injury that Michelle reported on. And Sable getting a chance to step up in the postseason now for the Oregon defense.
Cochran deep down the middle and 2 deep. Over the head of Arlen Bruce with Michael Fletcher in coverage. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought we'd see more offense than this. You wonder if the long layoff between games, these two teams haven't played in a month.
Yeah, it affects it because, you know, and defensively, you can just turn up the pressure. You can bring more blitzes. You can be more aggressive, take some more chances. And again, until the offense proves that they can handle that, you just keep doing it.
Ryan Rindle's punt. Of course, no fair catch from Fletcher. Only brings it back to the 35-yard line. 38-yard punt. And Derek Rackley, the long snapper, made the tackle. Time for Army teammates. We focus on the Oregon kickers. Nathan Villegas and Josh Frankel proved to be the difference in the Ducks' 3-point win over USC in 3 overtimes. Villegas kicked a 26-yard field goal with 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter to send it to overtime. USC missed the field goal in the 3rd overtime. Then Josh Frankel, who replaced an injured Villegas, kicked the winning field goal from 27 yards out. Villegas injured himself after the game-tying field goal at the end of regulation. That's when he tore his ACL celebrating the field goal. It's Curtis Poole being helped off the field for Minnesota, but they tell us you can kick with a torn ACL because that ACL is not involved in the mechanics of kicking. If it was in his plant leg, he'd have a problem. If he was playing another position, it'd be difficult to play with a torn ACL. But he kicks with a torn ACL. Harrington throws, and it is a terrific catch by T.Hartley in traffic. He got hammered by Delvin Jones, but still held on. 38 yards, a huge play for the Oregon Ducks.
Well, they
needed a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they needed a play like this. Single coverage. T.Hartley, their go-to receiver. You see how he stops and kind of keeps the defender away from the football with his body. A nice job working against Travis Graham by T.Hartley to come down with the catch. A hard hit from Delvin Jones, the free safety, but a nice throw and catch.
Holding on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Sean, I made the point, until Oregon showed that they could make a play, passing the football down the field, Minnesota would keep coming after him. That's the kind of play Joey Harrington needed with this offense.
And that was a heck of a throw.
Yeah.
That was a frozen rope deep down the middle of the field. And a nice catch by Hartley. 4 catches for Hartley. 157 career grabs. And that one dropped by Marshawn Tucker.
Oregon coming into the ball game known for their offense with Mike Bellotti, but nothing doing today. Just a miserable first half offensively for the Ducks. Very uncharacteristic for them. But they've got something going right now inside the 30-yard line. And again, Willie Middlebrooks out of the football game. He's in the locker room already. Oregon has to exploit that. They have to take advantage of the fact that the best cover corner for Minnesota is not on the field.
Oregon 8-3, shared the best overall record in the Pac-10 with Stanford. Cardinal also 8-3. That pass by Harrington incomplete, looking for LaCorey Collins, a tight end. Tyrone Carter had the coverage. Stanford had the better conference record. And the Cardinal go to the Rose Bowl, but many, like Glenn Mason, believe Mike Bellotti's team is the most talented team in the Pac-10.
They certainly have offensively played well all year, particularly when Ruben Drones was healthy. And then again, the last 3 or 4 ball games, the defense, you know, Nick Aliotti, his first year back, putting his system back in. It took him a while, but the last month of the season, defensively, they played extremely well.
Oregon did not play Stanford this season. 3rd down and 10. Forced out of the pocket. Harrington stepped up for a completion and an apparent first down. Enyi Wamuo made the tackle. The junior from made the catch rather. The junior from Richmond, California, was tackled by Jimmy Henry.
Nice play by Harrington. The pressure is going to come from Greg White. Number 50 right here is going to be the pressure that forces Harrington up into the pocket. And he has the poise to hang in there and find the clearing receiver and get the first down. Big throw by Joey Harrington moving up in the pocket. Sean, I'd throw to the end zone right here, I think, and just try to get the man-to-man coverage and get something to the end zone.
Handed off to Drones on 1st and 10 from the 18. He's inside the 10 and has another first down. Out of bounds inside the 7-yard line, shoved out by Jimmy Wyrick.
He did a nice job there of going on a quick count, Sean. Minnesota's defense wasn't completely set. Oregon went on the quick count, caught him a little bit outflanked on the outside, and Ruben Drones made him pay for it. Good job using the snap count by Joey Harrington and then the speed of Ruben Drones. Good block downfield by Marshawn Tucker, the wide receiver.
Ruben Drones up to 76 yards. Of course, about half that total came on a long run in which he fumbled. Looked like he juggled that handoff as well. Fighting for every inch inside the 5 before he was turned back. When we talked with Mike Bellotti, he said Ruben Drones is as good as any running back in the country. He just hasn't played enough to get the recognition, get the national attention. He's had so many injuries, but it's not because of a lack of toughness. Here's a guy who played with a broken leg against UCLA before they realized it was broken last year. Played with ribs that kept popping out of place this season. That was a very painful injury. Not been a great red zone team. They do score a lot of long touchdown plays. Here's Harrington on the keeper and a touchdown. Joey Harrington with the first score for the Ducks.
Sean, I was watching David Gibbs on the sideline, too, and he was jumping up and down trying to get the attention of Tyrone Carter to alert them for the option. They were set up to run the option there, and they just couldn't get it called. But a nice call by Mike Bellotti. Speed option down the line. The option on Mesera. He goes to take the pitch, and Harrington cuts inside for the touchdown.
And now Nathan Villegas will try the extra point to tie it. One of the best place kickers in the country, and that one's right down the middle. By far the best drive for Oregon. 7 plays, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Much to the dismay of Glenn Mason. 7-7 in the Sun Bowl.
7-7 here. The key to running the option is reading what this guy's going to do. Ben Mesera, the outside linebacker, as he comes down the line, is he going to take the quarterback of the pitch? He overcommits to the pitch man, and that allows Harrington to cut right inside and get it in for the touchdown. They fooled the Minnesota defense going with the option there. Oregon not known as an option team, but they use it enough to be effective at the goal line.
Dan Katz is the kickoff man for Oregon, the junior from Scottsdale, Arizona. They have Tyrone Carter back to return the kickoff. 7-7 game. A minute 11 left in the half. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. That's a free ball. Finally picked up by Carter. And he brings it out to the 24-yard line. Monday on CBS. CY Entertainment Weekly calls The King of Queens one of the 4 best shows on television. Kevin James and Jerry Stiller star in The King of Queens Monday on CBS. .106 left to the AXA halftime report. On the draw, Thomas Hamner. Out to the 31. P.Sirmon with yet another tackle. Hamner, first team All Big Ten this year, second in the Big Ten in rushing behind the Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dane of Wisconsin. Just 27 yards rushing for Hamner today. He averages 124 a game. Looking for running room. He finds some and has a first down, but looks like the Gophers are content to let the clock run out. Well, good field position now and 2 timeouts out of the 35. There are the numbers. Dane far and away the Big Ten rushing leader, and Hamner 12th in the nation with his 124 a game.
It looked like they were going to let it run out and get back in the huddle, and then Glenn Mason signaled them to go up to the line and run the same play to see if they could get the first down. Now it looks like they may take a shot downfield.
Well, they even wasted a lot of time around the line of scrimmage before the snap. Now they have a man open, and Luke Leverson's out of bounds. He was open along the near sideline near the 30 of Oregon, but he couldn't keep the feet in bounds.
He was open because Cochran was able to buy himself some extra time because of his mobility and getting outside the pocket, but didn't know where the sideline was when he made the catch.
2nd and 10. The Gophers at their own 35.
I think Minnesota will now run the football and just go into the locker room. And I think they were a little confused of whether they wanted to try to go for it again or just run the football.
Hamner out to the 42. P.Sirmon made the tackle. That is not recording, and these 2 teams will be content to head into the locker room deadlocked at 7. Well, we expected a tight one, and that's what this has been. Minnesota slight favorite, perhaps by virtue of its number 12 national ranking. And here's Michelle with Minnesota coach Glenn Mason.
All right, Sean, thanks. About Willie Middlebrooks, your cornerback, we saw him leave the field. We saw him icing his neck. What is his status?
He's got a slight concussion. We decided to take him in at halftime. We think we'll have him for the second half.
Well, it's a whole new ball game for the second half. Tied at 7 apiece. You had done a good job of keeping the Ducks off the board. What do you look to do differently now in the second half?
Well, I think we did a pretty good job defensively. We've got to get something going offensively. They've shut down our run. I think that we're going to have to mix it up a little bit more and may have to go deep a little bit.
Coach, thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Back up to you, Sean.
Glenn Mason, the Big Ten Coach of the Year. First time ever a Minnesota coach has won that honor. Halftime, the score 7-7. We'll return to the Sun Bowl for the AXA halftime report after this message and a word from your local station.
When I was younger, I did some pretty
Welcome back to the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. At halftime, it's a tie ball game. Minnesota 7, Oregon 7. Right now on the field, the Oregon Marching Band. Take a listen.
There it is! Ron Ray has become the NCAA all-time career rushing leader.
Here's Hamilton, keeping it, coming to the right side. He is unbelievable!
Puts it back against the grain, runs into a piece of balance. Looks for a block, breaks another tackle. Zigzags forward to the 15. Oregon is heard to the 5. Touchdown, Florida State. Drew Brees sprinted 9 yards for the touchdown. Pennington takes, throws for the end zone. Touchdown, Thundering Herd! 300 left. Congratulations, Bobby Dodd. Levanian Tomlinson is the all-time NCAA single-game record holder. 15-10-5. Texas, Huey Austin goes in. Texas into the right corner of the end zone. Touchdown.
Kick's on the way. It's got the distance. Is it,
He got it! Oh! Big time player, step up and big time.
Jackson bobbled it, tipped it up in the air, and then held on for the score.
And a great pass by Randall Lane. Struggled but caught by Plack for the score. Alexander, left side. He's gone. Touchdown. It may be Hail Mary time. The snap is down. It's good. Rutgers has won his first game of 99. And the handoff goes to Bush again. Straight up middle. Tries to get in the end zone. Does a spin move. He's still on his feet. It's taken away by the Rebels. The Rebels have the football. The Rebels have the football. UNLV's going to score a touchdown. UNLV's football. Got a man wide open. Oh, it's batted away. Give again to Payton, got by a would-be tackler, inside the 15, inside the 10, to the 5, and a touchdown for Jared Payton.
The AXA Halftime Report is sponsored by AXA Advisors.
A new year and a new era in Russia. It's countdown to 2000. Sub-freezing weather is frosting the festivities in Moscow. No reports of Y2K problems with Russian missiles or nuclear reactors. President Yeltsin has resigned. He's put in his man Vladimir Putin. Putin has granted Yeltsin immunity from corruption charges. Cellular phones jammed at midnight in Tokyo, and there are questions about the safety of a nuclear power plant monitoring system. Outside Tokyo, the countdown continues from CBS News.
This is the face of a record.
Back in El Paso at halftime of the 66th Wells Fargo Sun Bowl, Minnesota and Oregon tied at 7. A moment ago, Michelle Tafoya spoke with Mike Bellotti.
Coach, a nice way to end the first half with a touchdown. How do you hope to build on that offensively?
Well, I think we needed some momentum. Obviously, that first half did not go as we had planned, and we did not play very well on offense or special teams. I think our defense played awesome. We only gave up about one big play. We got to keep that continuity and consistency on defense. We got to make something happen offensively. I think we're better than that. I think we'll play a little bit more relaxed this half.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you.
And we congratulate Michelle Tafoya. She's everywhere there at halftime. On the field, up at the top of the stadium to host halftime, back down on the field. I think Mike Bellotti touched on the key point that we were going to make. They were awesome on defense for the Ducks, particularly against the run. Minnesota, one of the best running teams in the nation. They had just 54 yards rushing in that first half.
Yeah, they came in the 11th best in the country, the second best in the Big Ten, averaging almost 240 yards a game. So Oregon, even though they're not big on defense, they're fast, they're moving around, doing a good job in the running game. Minnesota's got to find some ways to attack, maybe more option in the second half. And for Minnesota, on their defense, the thing they've done that's been impressive, they've gotten pressure on Joey Harrington. They've kind of harassed the quarterback, and he did not play relaxed that first half. Mike Bellotti said his offense needs to play more relaxed. It starts with the quarterback, Joey Harrington.
Well, Tyrone Carter back for the second half kickoff from Oregon's Dan Katz. And the second half is underway with a booming kickoff. Still not much breeze. The flags aren't doing anything. The Cats didn't need any help. He just booted it through the back of the end zone without assistance from Mother Nature. Here's the first touchdown of the game, Minnesota, in the first quarter. Billy Cockrum, the Ron Johnson, a 1-yard touchdown pass. Oregon struggled through most of the half. And then an impressive drive resulted in a 5-yard run on the option by Joey Harrington to tie the game late in the first half. That culminated a 66-yard drive for Oregon. So now Cockrum, who rushed for 21 yards and was 7 of 13 passing with an interception and a touchdown in the first half. He threw for 75 yards. He throws right on the money for a first down to Luke Leverson out to the 36-yard line. And let's take a look at more stats from the first half.
You mentioned the rushing yards for Minnesota, way down based on their averages. Turnovers the same, third down conversions identical for both teams. And therefore the 7-7 ball game.
Looked like a lateral to Arlen Bruce. He put his head down and bowled his way near another first down. Speaking of a bull, did Michelle actually say that I knew more about bull than anyone she knew?
I believe that's what she said.
I thought she said that. It's always dangerous, though, to say something about somebody who has the microphone after you. But Michelle's been a real trooper today. She's been sick this week and has done her usual terrific job, even when she's not feeling 100%. And we want to wish Michelle Tafoya well, because this is her last game at CBS, and she's heading on to bigger and better things at ESPN, and her many, many friends here are going to miss that smile.
Right back at you, Shawnee, because this is your last game, too, and we've been together a long time. So I'll miss you. Happy New Year, pal.
Same to you.
But you still are full of bull.
I want to know it was a matador. Maybe that's my future. First down. Thomas Hamner, he still can't get on track. Just 37 yards on the first half for Hamner. And nothing on that play. He ran into Zach Prater, the sophomore from Milwaukee, Oregon. Hamner has had a terrific season, 1,362 yards in the regular season, third best single season total at the University of Minnesota. all-time best single-season Chris Darkins in '94 rushed for 1,443 yards. That pass caught by Ron Johnson, short of a first down at the 46-yard line. Of course, the all-time leading rusher at Minnesota is Darrell Thompson. He's here today working on the Minnesota radio network. A terrific player. Hamner has tied Darrell Thompson's single-season Minnesota record with 7 100-yard rushing games. There's Darrell on the right of your screen. Now working, helping underprivileged youngsters in the Twin Cities area. Terrific guy, and what a great player he was for the Golden Gophers. There's a completion to Ron Johnson, pushed out by Brian Johnson. That's a first down. Darrell Thompson fired away Minnesota's all-time leading rusher with 4,654 yards, and Hamner started the day number 2, but well behind, 3,746 yards.
He has to be really thrilled with the season that the Gophers have had this season and bringing a winner to the university. And Billy Cockrum coming out to start the second half here with a hot hand. They're spreading the Oregon defense out more, using more 4 wide receiver sets.
Hamner into the middle again for 2 to the 38, where Dietrich Moore sent him to the ground.
I think the one thing that you see right now coming out of the locker room, what Minnesota has decided to do, Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator, when they were in the 2 tight end sets and the 3 wide receiver sets, Oregon was able to keep more guys in to stop the run. Now almost all 4 wide receiver sets, the quarterback in the shotgun. It's spreading the Oregon defense out, opening up some more space.
Going deep and just a little bit too long for Ron Johnson. He's had a one-on-one matchup, it seems, all day out there on the corner with Brian Johnson.
Well, it's a good opportunity with Ron Johnson. Again, he's 6'3", 212 pounds. He was a good basketball player. You throw it up like that, it's just like going up for a rebound for a big receiver. That time a little too far to the outside. You want to throw it to the outside shoulder. That time Cockrum a little wide with the throw.
Third down and 8. Cockrum going deep down the middle for Arlen Bruce. He has it inside the 10. Down to the goal line. Touchdown! He took the defenders 10 yards into the end zone.
This is a great call by Steve Loney, getting the matchup that they wanted, and then a nice touch pass by Billy Cockrum. Here is the Bruce right here going against the strong safety, Michael Fletcher. It's a mismatch, a wide receiver against the strong safety, and look at the touch that Cockrum puts on the throw. Enough air to get over the defender into the arms of Bruce. Good call and an excellent throw.
The extra point hooked, no good. Wide left from Dan Nystrom. A true freshman from New Hope, Minnesota, with what could be a key miss. 38-yard touchdown pass. Cockrum to Arlen Bruce, capping a nifty 80-play drive for the Gophers. They're back on top.
Hey! What are you doing? This movie is terrible. Don't you like science fiction? There is a science fiction marathon on right now. You need Web TV to remind you of your favorite shows.
With the 38-yard touchdown reception, Billy Cockrum having an 8-play, 80-yard drive. Took just 2:18. The bad news, they missed the extra point. Arlen Bruce, senior from Olathe, Kansas. In his second year in Minnesota as a junior college transfer. Here's the kickoff from Preston Greening. Down to Sonny Cook. He's taken out of bounds near the 30-yard line after a 24-yard return. And we chatted with Steve Loney, the offensive coordinator of Minnesota, during the week about Arlen Bruce. And there's Steve in the glasses. He and his staff just did some great work with adjustments at halftime. But he said about Arlen Bruce, you know, for a year and a half in this program, you could see he had some talent, but he just didn't really make many plays on the field until he had that big catch on the deflection against Penn State on that 4th and 16, the most memorable play. Ron Johnson, the intended receiver, He dubbed this play the Immaculate Deflection. Alert play by Bruce and a terrific catch just off the ground to put them in field position for the game-winning field goal. And since then, Bruce been a much more confident, much more effective player.
Very productive.
That pass dropped by Chad Chance, a fullback, out in the flat. They might not give Chad another chance as he dropped the pass from Harrington.
Tyrone Carter right there to make sure, even if he did catch it, he wasn't going to go very far. Boy, I like watching this kid play. He is really fun to watch.
Interesting story about how he came to Minnesota. He's from Pompano Beach, Florida, Tyrone Carter. Wanted to go to one of the big schools in Florida. Tyrone was raised by his grandmother, Mamie May. She raised Tyrone and 11 of her own children. Here's Harrington to pass. Actually, with a handoff to Drones. Fooled me, but not the Gophers. And there's Carter again. But Jim Wacker, the former coach at Minnesota, went to the Carter home in Florida to visit Tyrone. And the grandmother, Mamie, who passed away 2 years ago, just took a liking to Jim Wacker. And there's Jim. He's here doing the national radio today. Unfortunately, he's right behind the pole, but he was Glenn Mason's predecessor, one of the really nice people in college sports. And Mamie Carter said there's just the nice spirit about that Coach Wacker. And Tyrone, you're going to go to the University of Minnesota. He had come back from a recruiting visit to Minnesota and said, no way, it's too cold. I'm from Florida. It was 30 below. So the grandmother said, nope, you're going to go play for that nice man. And Tyrone's very glad that he did.
We'll get you a big coat, but I want you to play for him.
8 tackles today, and he's been around every other one in which he was not involved. Drones down for a moment, and he hobbles off. 11 rushes, 75 yards. And there is a tattoo on Tyrone Carter's left arm in memory of his grandmother, who was the greatest influence in his life. Tyrone fathered a child who was 17 years old. His grandmother made him go out and get 2 jobs to support the youngster. Tyrone Jr., now 5 years old. Herman Ho Ching in for Drones. Harrington with his shirt being tugged on, still completes the pass to T.Hartley out to midfield. And into Gopher territory at the 48-yard line. Greg White had a hold of Harrington. And yesterday we asked Tyrone Carter about his relationship with his grandmother.
My mentor is my late grandma, and to her credit, she taught me my morals of life and how to be respectful and, you know, just live a life and enjoy life as itself. Because you look back in time where I can see kids that, you know, don't have the opportunity that I have, and, you know, now I'm here playing football, and, you know, I appreciate everything that's happened to me and enjoy life more.
He always does seem to have a smile on his face. He's already pledged $50,000. And he gets out of school to help build a church down in Florida, near where he grew up. That pass over the head of Todd Brooks. Going to be 2nd and 10 from the Minnesota 48.
Sean, a throw right there just shows me that Joey Harrington still isn't completely comfortable in this game, and it's because of the pressure that Minnesota has been able to get around him. You look at his numbers, 10 of 24, 115 yards, but that was an easy throw off the play action, just out in the flat, but he kind of hurried it. He threw the ball too high. He's just not completely comfortable in the offense right now, and it's because of the Minnesota defense. And again, the layoff, you haven't played against live competition for nearly a month.
Minnesota leads by 6 early in the 3rd quarter. It's still Ho Ching at running back. Harrington faked for Herman Ho Ching and throws a little low. Flag down, and they are going to rule that a completion along the far sideline to Keenan Howry. Travis Graham in coverage, and that coverage might have been a bit too tight, but Howry managed to make the catch anyway.
That time Harrington did a nice job staying in the pocket, stepping right where he was throwing it, and a good job by Howry coming back for the football.
Glenn Mason mentioned to Michelle at the half, Willie Middlebrooks has a concussion, the fine cornerback. It is a pass interference call against the Golden Gophers. And there's Middlebrooks on the sideline. Our information coming out of the locker room was that he probably would not play here in the 2nd half, but here he comes.
Glenn Mason obviously got the clearance and has seen enough with Oregon moving the ball inside the 35-yard line now.
Pass interference on the defense. The foul is further than the completion. First down.
And now you wonder with Middlebrooks just how will he play any more cautiously because of the injury. And again, that's a big difference in this ball game. He's a difference maker in the game because of his ability to take a receiver out of the game.
First down at the 34-yard line. Minnesota scored an impressive opening drive of the second half, and now Oregon is trying to answer. Herman Ho-Ching inside the 32-yard line. We're told that R.Droughns is out with a cramp in his left thigh, and they do anticipate that he'll come back, and here he comes. We are at altitude here. El Paso sits in the Franklin Mountains. This stadium about 4,000 feet above sea level. Franklin Mountains rise about a mile above this beautiful city, the southernmost tip of the Rocky Mountain. Second and 8. Hartley goes deep. Instead, they throw for Tucker, and it's incomplete. Tyrone Carter had the coverage on Marshawn Tucker.
I think this is a case where an All-American like Tyrone Carter gets a little bit of grace. He's not used to covering man-to-man on wide receivers as much as the corners, and I think he got his hand on the receiver at the end of this play.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of pulled at him a little bit, but again, All-Americans get those kind of calls in their favor sometimes.
By the way, I'm sorry about the Millennium Poll. I voted for you for the college football player of the century, but I guess Herschel just edged you at the wire.
Well, we beat Herschel in the Sugar Bowl, though, so that made up for it for the national championship.
Third down and 8. They are in range for a long field goal. Harrington throws. It is caught inside the 10. First and goal on the completion to Keenan Howry. And that time it was Carter in coverage. But Harrington made the completion for a 27-yard gain.
Well, they're going after Tyrone Carter and say, hey, you're making too many plays against our running game. Get out here and cover somebody. Let's see what you got there. He got away with it the last time. This time, Howry quick off the ball. Again, a strong safety's not as used to getting up in a receiver's face and playing bump and run coverage. Howry gets the quick release and the nice throw by Harrington.
When we talk about teams that are well coached, and clearly these two teams are, an example of it is what the coaches do at halftime, making adjustments, and both offenses have adjusted well. R.Droughns. Nothing doing. Sean Hoffman made the tackle. Carter also in on the play. Hoffman, a junior from Fargo, North Dakota. David Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, compares him to Andy Katzenmoyer. So he's Minnesota's Andy Katzenmoyer.
And not quite as fast, maybe not as explosive as Andy Katzenmoyer now with the Patriots, but a great and typical Big Ten plugger, or a good run stopper, a guy who plays physical and sticks his nose in there. And that time he read the counter play extremely well for the play.
Hoffman making his 35th consecutive start today. Played as a redshirt freshman. Has been in the lineup ever since. Honorable mention All Big Ten this year. Second and goal. Harrington trying to throw the fade over the head of Hartley and out of bounds. Willie Middlebrooks had good coverage.
If I'm going to throw a fade now, I'm not going to throw it at Middlebrooks. I'm going to throw it the other way against Jimmy Wyrick. This is the wide side of the field, and Hartley's your best receiver, but Middlebrooks is 6'2", so you got to throw that ball over his head and make a perfect throw against a very good cover guy. The averages and the percentages of that throw being good are not very good for Oregon right now.
Willie Middlebrooks from Florida City, Florida. Homestead High School. Big play here. Third and goal from the 5. Oregon trying to take the lead with a touchdown and an extra point. Minnesota trying to force a field goal try. Quarterback draw. Harrington to the goal line. He did not get in. Stopped just short of the goal line by John Schlecht and Delvin Jones. Harrington bidding for his second rushing touchdown of the game. Came within an inch or two of it.
Yeah, nice call. They went the option the last time they were down here. This time the quarterback draw, a design play. You see Schlecht with the tackle, and he was down before he got the ball across the end zone. Good call. Now a decision for Mike Bellotti inside the 1.
He's going to go for the touchdown.
You know, your quarterback is 6'4", 215 pounds. You leave less than 1 yard to go. And this is a good opportunity for a quarterback sneak here with Joey Harrington.
8 of 13 on fourth downs this year. Harrington keeps it. Touchdown.
than one. You just need a little bit of a surge and then get in behind there and get the ball across the plane. Good job by Joey Harrington getting the touchdown. And Mike Bellotti knows now, hey, we responded to their touchdown. Let's take the lead with the extra point.
1-yard touchdown run by Harrington. He holds for Nathan Villegas, who gives Oregon the lead. First lead of the game for the Ducks. And the mixed extra point looms as the difference in this one.
Morning.
How you doing?
What would you do with a crystal face hand polished to withstand 2 tons of unadulterated pressure? What would you do with a tachymetric scale so precise it can survive 240-degree heat? What would you do with a world-renowned Alpha Expedition timepiece? Well, you'd probably just use it to tell time. And at $6,500, that watch could cost you over $30,000 in retirement savings. We just thought you should know. Ask a financial advisor about Sun America, the retirement specialist.
CBS Sports presentation of the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl is sponsored by Nike, Chrysler, Wells Fargo Bank, and by Gateway.
Well, the defenses had their way in the first half, but each offense scored on its first drive of the second half. Well, they didn't pay to get in, but inside we have a big crowd, 48,757, the 7th highest attendance total in the 66-year history of this game. And both teams have talked about it, what a great time they've had all week here in El Paso. You and I have had the privilege to be to many different bowl games, but this has the reputation for the best hospitality, and there's no way that can be disputed. The kickoff from Dan Katz to Tyrone Carter, and here he goes. Finally chased out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Sunday on 60 Minutes, you don't have to root for the Jets or even be a football fan to love the guy who coaches them. Mike Wallace scrimmages with Bill Parcells. Sunday on 60 Minutes. I'll look forward to that.
He's done a great job this year, boy. Third string quarterback, and he's...
I think my neighbors in New England appreciate even more what a great coach he is now. There's a lateral. That should be a free ball. That ball went backwards. They're ruling it incomplete for Arlen Bruce. Apparently a forward pass.
They've tried this little bubble screen a couple times, and it has not looked good anytime they've run it. Oregon has defended it very well.
Am I wrong, or is that not a lateral?
It looked awfully close to being a lateral.
Let's look at it from this. He's on the 27-yard line as he throws it. That lands back by the 26.
Yep. Should have been a lateral.
2nd and 10. Going deep. Into the desert. Outside the stadium here.
And this is not really Minnesota's game. Now, they came out of the locker room to start the second half, and they kind of surprised Oregon throwing the football. They got 4 wide receivers, but this is an offense that wants to run the ball first and establish that running game. And right now, they're just trying to loosen things up with their passing game, but that is not the way Minnesota wins football games, throwing it all over the place every down.
Nick Aliotti relaying the defense. to his Ducks on 3rd down and 10 for Minnesota. Gophers at their own 30. Cochran flushed from the pocket. There's nowhere to throw it. Finally throws it away in the direction of Ron Johnson, but he was very well covered again by Brian Johnson. And Minnesota, so impressive on its opening drive of this half, goes 3 downs and out this time.
Good pressure from Dietrich Moore. A good thing for Oregon. He's back in the ball game. Got leg whipped in the first half. Cochran is chased, and then Dietrich Moore comes from his linebacker position to put the shot on Cochran and force the errant throw.
Brian Rindle's the punter. Punted very well, including that 65-yarder in the first half. Fletcher started at the 33, finds room in the middle, and gets popped down at the 48-yard line. A 15-yard return of a 37-yard punt. Drew Deneke delivered the hit on punt coverage for the Golden Gophers. Oregon with the ball in a 1-point lead midway through the 3rd quarter at the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. Game summary reflects the very even nature of this game. The difference is a missed extra point by Minnesota. Virtually every number even. Carter's 11 tackles, offset by the 13 tackles made by P.Sirmon of Oregon.
And a good thing for Mike Bellotti is they're sensing some momentum changing in this ball game. Oregon starting to assert itself a little more offensively. 2 touchdowns in their last 2 possessions. Joey Harrington making some plays, throwing the football.
He's been hit and miss throughout the game. 11 of 27 passing now, but he hasn't thrown an interception. Looking to go for the home run ball. He took a hit as he threw it, and it's well covered by Jimmy Wyrick. Wyrick had coverage on Marshawn Tucker. John Schlecht put the heat on Harrington.
When you play opposite Middlebrooks, you know you're going to get a lot of attention as a corner, and Jimmy Wyrick does a great job there of using the sideline as a friend. And then Schlecht with the exclamation point at the end of the play on Joey Harrington. Those hits add up too. I mean, it's not counted a sack. It's not even really probably considered a pressure, but it's a hit on the quarterback, and they add up after a couple hours under fire.
Sacked only once. And that exchange is missed. Drones couldn't corral it. But the offensive line to the rescue. Jim Adams, the guard, sophomore from Lake Forest, California, plays guard and tackle on the left side. Was in the right spot for the Ducks.
They were going to run a flea flicker there, Sean. It was a pitch to Drones, and Drones was going to pitch it back to the quarterback, and they were going to throw the football, and it was just too hard of a pitch by Harrington. He was in too much of a hurry to get back to make the throw. They were setting up a throw off of that pitch. It was low and hard by Harrington. The running back's coming at you. You got to take a little steam off that ball.
Like Sean Hoffman had a good chance to recover that on the bounce for Minnesota, but it went through him and was taken in by Jim Adams. 3rd down and 11. Ducks from their own 48. Harrington again under pressure, throws in the flat. Tucker's going to have to do some work, and he can't get to the first down marker. Jimmy Wyrick, a good open field tackle. And right alongside again, of course, was Tyrone Carter. Wyrick back in his home state. He's a senior from DeSoto, Texas. Bothered by a foot injury, which he suffered last year, but it carried into the first part of this season. The coaches say that Jimmy's really playing his best football lately as he recovers from that foot problem.
Had a huge interception in the Indiana game, 65 yards return for a touchdown. That game was kind of in the balance going in middle of the 4th quarter, and his touchdown return really kind of sealed the game for the Gophers. Marshawn Tucker hobbling off the field after that hit by Wyrick.
There's Curtis Dorr to punt to Luke Leverson. And he's throwing it deep. And Middlebrooks is there in coverage, and they throw a flag. It was intended for Sonny Cook. Willie Middlebrooks had coverage, and apparently he's going to be called for pass interference. He was stride for stride with Cook, but didn't turn and look at the ball, and apparently made some contact as well.
Well, first of all, Middlebrooks probably has no idea. Here they are up here. He's thinking he's just going to cover the gunner going down on the punt. Normal activity on punt return, and then he realizes
15-yard penalty.
they just fooled him. It was a great call by Tom Osborne, the special teams coach. They fooled Willie Middlebrooks and got the interference call and a first down.
He was a high school quarterback, was the punter Curtis Dorr, and he looked like it there.
Sure did.
It was a very tight spiral thrown deep down the field by the punter Dorr.
You could see it at the beginning of that play. Middlebrooks kind of was a little nonchalant on his assignment, was kind of taking it easy a little bit on the play, and when he tried to recover, he got called for the penalty.
Fake the handoff to Cook, the motion man. Now they throw back to Cook, and he's hoping for a first down to the 21-yard line. So Sonny Cook involved in consecutive big plays. That's a pickup of 12 for the former defensive back who moved to wide receiver in the spring, and he's made some big plays for them, particularly on special teams this year.
Really good protection up front here, Sean, because this play was not designed to go back to Cook. He was trying to throw it across the field, came back to Cook as an outlet receiver, but good enough protection to allow Harrington to survey the whole field.
Don't just say Cook's still learning the wide receiver position, but he has excellent speed. And he has put that to good use on a couple of occasions today. First and 10 from the 21. R.Droughns, the ball carrier. Down to the 18-yard line. John Schlecht made the tackle on Reuben R.Droughns. He's a senior from Anaheim, California. Grew up in a very tough neighborhood. You know, you think of Anaheim being Disneyland.
Yeah.
The Anaheim Mighty Ducks, but he grew up in a... That's what I think of anyway. Not everybody probably does, but Reuben grew up in a very tough neighborhood. He said, you know, basically in the neighborhood he grew up in, the choice was to play sports or get involved with the bad crowd that leads you down the wrong path, and he chose to stay involved in sports. He's a very engaging young man. Enjoyed our visit with him at the luncheon yesterday. R.Droughns down to the 15-yard line. Passed it. Osai made the tackle. And a linebacker now for the University of Minnesota. Sophomore from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Part-time starter, but he missed the season finale in the regular season against Iowa with a knee injury.
I'm still sitting here thinking that what a gutsy call that was to go for that fake punt. At that point, you know, you've got control of the game a little bit. You're up by 1. Your defense is playing well. You run the risk of giving Minnesota the football out at the 50-yard line. Great call by Mike Bellotti to go for the fake punt.
Well, moving on the right side of his offensive line. Well, that's going to be the first time today that that Oregon has been penalized. One penalty for 5 yards all day. That one against Oregon. Minnesota's been flagged 4 times for 43 yards.
And another one of those critical penalties that takes a 3rd down and 4 situation and makes it a 3rd down and 9 situation. Changes the scenario quite significantly. Now Minnesota's substituting with a nickel defense, expecting a pass. When you're in 3rd and 4, you still have that opportunity to run or throw the football. And at 3rd and 9, you pretty much lose the option of running.
Harrington under duress, throws to the end zone, incomplete. Looking again for Sonny Cook, but Jimmy Wyrick was right there on his hip, and here comes the field goal unit for Oregon. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, guys, Marshawn Tucker suffered a thigh bruise on his right leg. They stretched it, iced it, but he's questionable. He's a wait and see right now. He is in a lot of pain, but they're thinking he may be able to return. We'll let you know.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Here's Nathan Villegas to try a 37-yard field goal. Should he make it, it'll be the 24th of the season. Oregon to tie the single-season school record, and he did make it. Right down the middle for the senior. Nathan Villegas. He's made 13 of those field goals, and Josh Frankel has the rest. Oregon by 4. Well, Oregon terrific on special teams. 24 field goals made by the Ducks. That's more than any other Pac-10 team attempted this season. 24 field goals for Villegas and Frankel combined, tying the Record set in 1989 when Greg McCallum kicked 24 field goals for the Ducks. Made 24 out of 32. There'll be kickers around the country trying to tear their ACL and kicking leg with the success Villegas is having today under those circumstances. This is Antoine Henderson. A nice return of the Dan Katz kickoff out to the 28-yard line. A 28-yard return. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Who was the only coach to take 3 different teams to the Sun Bowl? To ponder that for a while. Actually, we know the answer. We'll give them a few minutes to think about it. Maybe we'll give a hint for those who are struggling. Wasn't it great to see Hayden Fry yesterday, the former Iowa head coach at SMU in North Texas State? He was inducted into the Legends of the Sun Bowl yesterday. Long pass by Cochran. Incomplete. Ron Johnson, the intended receiver. Brian Johnson had the coverage. And Hayden Fry is not the answer for those who just gave it away. He did come here 3 times, but once with SMU. Matter of fact, in '63, his SMU team lost to Oregon. The only other team Oregon was in the Sun Bowl under the legendary coach Len Casanova. Hayden Fry was here twice with Iowa in '95 and '97. But Hayden Fry and Jimmy Rogers have been involved with the Sun Bowl for 37 years. One of the most prominent citizens in El Paso, one of the nicest people you'd meet anywhere. Absolutely. And was inducted as a Sun Bowl legend for his many years of gracious service and hospitality. Cochran on the money for a first down. Out to Eldon Jones with 1 catch all year. He's had a couple today. And that's a first down to the 46-yard line. Gain of 18. Well, we mentioned the 1963 Sun Bowl. Well, the only other time either of these 2 teams played here. First game played in the new Sun Bowl Stadium. The Ducks led by Coach Casanova and quarterback Bob Berry's 2 touchdown passes. They prevailed over Hayden Fry's SMU team 21-14. For Oregon, it was their first bowl victory in 47 years. Cochran in trouble and sacked. Back at the 42, the second sack for Oregon. And it was delivered by Matt Smith and Saul Patu.
Nick Aliotti decided we've only rushed 3 or 4, and Cochran's starting to settle in a little bit. Let's bring some linebacker pressure this time. They bring Dietrich Moore and Matt Smith. Moore gets picked up. Smith does not on the inside, and they get the sack. Good change of pace, calling for some pressure that time by Oregon.
Cochran looking to run on 2nd and long. We got back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps a loss of a ½ yard. Zach Prater and Jason Nicolau combining on the stop. Well, Nick Aliotti's defense has had Cochran under pressure. I'm very happy for Nick Aliotti. We mentioned he's returned to Eugene. His family loves it there. He was at UCLA last year. He got a lot of criticism when the Bruins defense struggled while the offense was terrific. Even the head coach at UCLA, Bob Toledo, criticized him publicly. But I think we've seen what happened at UCLA this year. And with the success Aliotti is having here, it wasn't his fault last year. There's a catch by Luke Leverson. Of course, as soon as you sing the praise of the defensive coordinator, there's the big hitter down to the 24-yard line. First down, Minnesota. The Gophers on the move with just more than a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter on a 34-yard completion by Cochran.
Well, some kind of a breakdown in that defensive secondary, because Leverson was all by his lonesome out here in the middle of the defense. Nobody around him, and Cochran, to his credit, found him and got him the football.
4 catches, 93 yards receiving for Leverson. Never recall a head coach, coaches, football coach, so loyal. I could never recall a head coach publicly saying as much about an assistant as Bob Toledo did about Nick Aliotti. Good for Nick that he's demonstrated. He didn't lose it 1 year. He was a good coach, highly thought of well before he went to UCLA. And he shouldn't have had to rehabilitate his image, but thanks in part to the damage done to him by Bob Toledo, he's had to this year. There's a pass for Ron Johnson. And he's inside the 15 with a first down. And Nick Aliotti, just to finish it to his credit, doesn't want to talk about it. No. He's a football coach, and he doesn't want to speak ill of another. He just prefer to let that be in his past and go about the business of being a football coach. This defense is in trouble right now, backed up inside the 15-yard line at the 12. 1st and 10, Minnesota back in rhythm.
Billy Cockrum has shown me a little something here. Again, they've not been able to run the football very effectively. They've had to rely on Billy Cockrum throwing the football. And he's doing a nice job of finding some openings in the Oregon defense and making some plays.
Thomas Hamner carried to the 9. Well, we're down to 20 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. The Gophers do not have to run another play in this quarter. They might get one off. They break the huddle. 2nd and 7 from the 9. They just did get the play off before the end of the quarter. And Hamner did well to avoid his knee touching the ground. It's a short gain. The 7-yard line, a pickup of 2. And a big 3rd down play will be upcoming for Glen Mason's Golden Gophers when the 4th quarter begins. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score: Oregon 17, Minnesota 13. We'll return to the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl right after this message and a word from your local station.
From Coin 6 News.
Back in El Paso for the 4th quarter, the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. Minnesota down by 4, but the Golden Gophers are facing a big 3rd down and 5 at the Oregon 7. Quick pass by Cockrum. It is caught. Touchdown, Ron Johnson.
Last time they did it to the wide side of the field. This time to the short side of the field. Going against Steve Smith, a backup corner. Now Smith sees the ball the whole way. He's in position, but it's a great throw by Cockrum to the outside, close to the sideline. Either his guy catches it or nobody catches it. Steve Smith was in position, just couldn't make a play because of the good throw.
There's Nystrom, who missed an extra point earlier. And to give Minnesota a 3-point lead, and he does. Ron Johnson with his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. Now let's go to Dan Rather in Times Square for another Countdown 2000 update.
The millennium arrives in the Holy Land. It's Countdown to 2000. Tight security ceremonies in Manger Square in Bethlehem, where tradition says Christ was born 2,000 years ago. At the South African prison where he spent 22 years, former President Nelson Mandela is paying a visit to mark the new year. Only minor computer glitches overseas so far, and the U.S. predicts much the same here, but it's still early as the new year approaches. I'm Dan Rather in Times Square. The countdown continues from CBS News.
All right, kid. Here we go. 10-9. What do you got? What do you got? What? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bear aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bear, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
We can't really go.
Take a look at the touchdown again that put Minnesota ahead. Now there's a safety right in here to help if the route comes inside. See, they're going to double it if it comes inside, but it's a fade route again. And again, Steve Smith saw the football, but he couldn't do anything about it. There was a safety there to help if it was a quick slant. The fade route was the right call.
Now Preston Greening kicks off. It'll be Sonny Cook from the goal line. Nice run back, weaving his way through traffic for 32 yards and good opening field position by Oregon. Todd, really exactly what we expected in this matchup. We talked at the top of the telecast that in the non-BCS games, this looked to be one of the most appealing matchups because of the competitive nature, it seemed, of the two teams. And here we are.
Yeah, and as you said, coming out of the locker room at halftime, both coaching staffs made good adjustments, and both quarterbacks settled down and made some plays to get their teams in the end zone. And that's what it's going to be in the fourth quarter, too. Joey Harrington, Billy Cockrum, which guy makes the most plays for their particular offense?
Well, there's a penalty on the kickoff return against Oregon for a hold. So instead of opening at the 32, they put the ball back at the 10-yard line. Much different story.
Yeah, that's a big change. They were out there in good field position. Now potentially a little more conservative play calling for Mike Bellotti.
Herman Ho Ching is in the backfield right now. And he gets the handoff. Good run, a good game. Out to the 20. And a first down. Pulled down by John Schlecht. And just as they were taking the snap of that play, a sight Oregon fans certainly did not want to see, R.Droughns, their leading rusher, one of the best running backs in the country, being helped to the locker room.
Must have got hurt on the kickoff return. He's on the kickoff return team. Must have been out there lead blocking for Sonny Cook when he got injured.
First and 10, Oregon. Ducks at their own 20. Ho Ching chopped down by Tyrone Carter. Well, I think we've had more than enough time for the Aflac trivia question. We didn't give people a hint. You know, it's the end of the season. By now, they've had time to study up for the Aflac trivia question. The only coach to take 3 different teams to the Sun Bowl, Johnny Majors. Iowa State, rather, in 71, a loss to LSU. Pittsburgh in 75. A victory that year for the Panthers. Tony Dorsetta Jr., they went on to the national championship the next year. And in 84, at Tennessee, a loss by 1 point to Maryland. Here's Ho Ching again. Into the secondary with another first down. Delvin Jones made the tackle, and Ho Ching upset about it because if he had gotten away from Jones, he might have taken it all the way.
It's another good run by Ho Ching. The burden is on him now with R.Droughns going to the locker room. It's the counter trap, and he makes a nice cut. That play can go outside, but he saw a little alley there on the inside, made a nice decision to cut it back in underneath the blocks for a good gain.
Stick with Ho Ching. Delvin Jones up to trip him up, but Ho Ching staggered away from that hit for a couple more yards before he went down. He went down to the 36. And there's an injured Golden Gopher on the play. Jimmy Wyrick, the cornerback, is down on the field at the 42-yard line.
We've already seen Middlebrooks have to leave the football game with a concussion. Now Wyrick's down.
As they take a look at Jimmy Wyrick, let's get an update on the condition of R.Droughns from Michelle.
Well, it appears, Sean, that R.Droughns has just been cramping up periodically throughout the game, and right now it's gotten to a point where they've had to take him into an auxiliary room near the locker room and just prepare an IV and see if that helps. We'll find out more and see if he's coming back. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Wyrick still down on the field. I mentioned he's had a foot injury, and it has bothered him the last couple of years. Looks like they're about to help him up.
Here he is right here. Wyrick's, take a look. The end of this play, it's just going to be a low block by the receiver, and it's a leg whip. He kind of gets leg whipped at the end of the block, right in the calf. He's walking off by his own power now, so he doesn't look to be too badly damaged.
He comes out with the Gopher defense looking at 2nd and 7. Travis Graham, who plays regularly for Minnesota, has committed that corner spot. Oregon at its own 36. Down by 3. Harrington going deep. Looking for Sonny Cook, and they throw a flag on Graham, the man who just came into the game for Wyrick. Well, they've been a little inconsistent today on those hand battles on the outside. We've seen a lot of pushing and shoving that has gone unflagged, and we've seen some contact that from our vantage point didn't look to be all that significant when a flag has been thrown.
Well, this one here looked like Travis Graham had his hands on Cook the entire time and just gave a little too much shove at the end of the play. I mean, there has been hand fighting just about every pass play, but watch the end. He just looks like he just gives him a little too much shove with the right hand, forcing him out of bounds.
I think that's a lousy call, especially given the way the day's gone, as we mentioned. So 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage moves the football to the 49-yard line. How about that defense? Only 2 touchdowns allowed all year in the fourth quarter, both against Purdue. And they lost by 5. That was the biggest margin of defeat for Minnesota this year. The other 2 losses were by 3 points. That's Jerry Brown. As they go deeper down the depth chart of the backfield, they've had a lot of injuries in the offensive backfield this season. There are the close losses we mentioned for the Gophers. A lot of anticipation for that Wisconsin game. They lost in overtime on a field goal. Against Ohio State, they lost on a late field goal. And against Purdue, the comeback fell just a little bit short. From the 45, with Herman Ho Ching back into the running back now. 2nd down and 6. And whistle stopped the play.
Schleck was off the ball too quickly that time. He is very, very quick off the football.
Yeah, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's why he was off the ball so quick. There was movement on the left side.
Ball goes back to midfield. You look at Glenn Mason, New Jersey native, 49 years old, played at Ohio State. Coached at Kent State, turned that program around. Coached at Kansas, turned that program around. That reputation as a turnaround specialist earned him the opportunity at Minnesota, which he had to be talked into. And it's worked out very well for both sides. That pass caught by LaCorey Collins. First down. Down to the 34-yard line on a 16-yard pass to the tight end, the junior from Oakland, California.
It's a good call because LaCorey Collins is right here, and there's going to be a blitz coming right here by Minnesota. Somebody probably needs to peel off and cover LaCorey Collins. He comes right off the ball, and there's nobody there. Tyrone Carter has to come from his safety position to make the play. Slipped out of the backfield there in the wing position and wasn't picked up by Minnesota.
Collins, highly touted out of Skyline High School in Oakland. He was a Parade High School All-American. Played 3 tight ends regularly. Collins a good receiver. Field a starter, better blocker. Harrington throw low. Thrown at the feet of Keenan Howry with Willie Middlebrooks in coverage. Exactly 11 minutes remaining in regulation time. Minnesota leads the Sun Bowl by 3.
T.Hartley has been very quiet here in the second half too, Sean, their top receiver. So you take a look at the comparison of the quarterback numbers. Billy Cockrum having a pretty good afternoon throwing the football, but T.Hartley is a guy that Oregon needs to get involved in the play. He's coming out for this particular 2nd down play, but I see a little frustration on him right now.
Harking back to the graphic we just saw, every time Cockrum has passed for 200 yards or more this year, Minnesota has won. See if that holds up. Harrington throws, incomplete. Intended for Chad Chance. Then Mesra had the coverage. The linebacker dropping into coverage, usually in passing situation. He is a rush man. He has 20 career sacks. 12 of them this season. Number 2 all time in sacks of Minnesota. Lamance Williams had 23.5.
Very athletic guy. Has a 36-inch vertical jump. Good speed, good athletic ability. But as you said, in nickel situations, they normally put him up as a down rusher, puts his hand on the ground, plays this stand-up linebacker in their regular formations.
borderline field goal range. What little breeze there is looks to be into the face of the Ducks here, and they're out of field goal range now on a sack. Greg White, who also comes in pass rushing situations, the sophomore from East Orange, New Jersey, with a big sack of Harrington back to the 41-yard line, and it looks like the Ducks will punt.
Well, they're also going to get pressure on the inside from Hoffman. Here he comes. White gets it from the outside. Hoffman is unblocked, coming on the inside from his linebacker position. And a good call, a good time to call the blitz by David Gibbs to make sure Oregon is out of field goal range.
Curtis Dorr is in the punt. We'll try to pin the Gophers in deep. Very high. Fair catch made by Luke Leverson at the 14-yard line. 27-yard punt, but the Gophers will begin this possession deep in their own territory. You know, Blackledge, Michelle Tafoya back at the Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. Let's take a look at the scoring summary. They only scored the first quarter. Ron Johnson, 1-yard reception from Billy Cockrum. Oregon scored late in the second quarter on Joey Harrington's 5-yard run. Minnesota scored in its first possession of the second half. Arlen Bruce, a 38-yard reception. Harrington scored on Oregon's first possession of the second half to take the lead after Minnesota had missed an extra point. Nathan Villegas, a 37-yarder to push the lead to 4 for Oregon, but then Johnson, in the same type of play, the fade, his second touchdown reception from Cockrum. Minnesota leads by 3, and the Gophers have the ball. First and 10 at their own 14-yard line. 10 minutes remaining. Cockrum threw a sinker low and away. Ball 1. Ron Johnson, the intended receiver.
I'm sure when Mike Bellotti sent his punt team on the field this last series, he was expecting to back Minnesota up a lot further than this. It was a high kick, but a short kick by Dorr. Minnesota has the luxury of starting at least on the 15-yard line or 14-yard line, not in the shadow of their own end zone. You have the flexibility to throw if you want to here.
Cockrum is looking to throw to the far sideline. Jump ball. Was he inbound? The officials are conferring it is an interception for Steve Smith.
Great interception by Steve Smith. Shawnee was in great position again. He was in great position on the touchdown to Ron Johnson, but couldn't make the play. This time, he was in great position on the sideline. His eyes were on the football, and he went up at the top of his jump and made the catch. Here he is right here. Watch him. His eyes are right on the quarterback. He knows when the ball is thrown. Leverson is the intended receiver, and he just goes up and gets the football. That's excellent work by the corner, Steve Smith, going up and fighting for the football.
Just need 1 foot in bounds, and the officials say that Steve Smith was in bounds. The sophomore from Rancho Palos Verdes, California, with his 3rd interception of the year. He's the nephew of the former NBA standout Dennis Johnson. The officials had plenty of help from the Ducks on that sideline. That call from the 46. Harrington trying to take advantage of a turnover. Caught, incomplete pass. That almost looked like a catch and fumble as Delvin Jones knocked it out. And Tyrone Carter picked it up. But they say Cook never had possession near the 20-yard line.
Good read, good throw by Joey Harrington, and a good play by Delvin Jones, separating the man from the football. Very close to being a completion and a fumble for Minnesota.
They do have a replay screen in the stadium. A moment ago, the Gopher fans were booing after the replay of the Smith interception, thinking he was out of bounds. And now the Gopher fans booing again. They think that was a catch and fumble.
Nice play by the free safety. Coming over, the man was open. He had the ball, and he separated him from the football.
Cook comes in motion. Harrington under pressure, throws it on the flat. Caught by Chad Chance, the fullback. He went out of bounds back at the 40-yard line. Short of a first down.
Go back and take one more look at the interception by Smith. Again, you only need 1 foot in bounds. There's the catch. Right foot down and in. Good call. There it is.
Call. His heel was not on the line. Excellent call.
Black shoes, white sideline. You can see that one pretty good, and the official made a good call.
What do you think of those Oregon uniforms? New this year.
I like the helmets a lot. I like that helmet a lot more than the yellow helmet. I'm not particularly fond of these green uniforms. I do like the away uniforms, the all-white. I do like quite a bit.
Quick pass, incomplete. Looking for LaCorey Collins on 3rd down. And 3. He was right at the necessary yardage for the first down if he had been able to make the catch. Now it's 4th and 3, and Mike Bellotti with 9:39 remaining. It looks like he's going to go for it. We're still without Reuben Drones. He's had cramping problems throughout the game and was taken to the dressing room not long ago. Herman Ho Ching will be the lone back as they have 3 wide receivers in. They're 1 for 1 on 4th down today. 9 out of 14 for the season.
And to draw them offside, Sean.
They're going to penalty.
Yeah, they're going to punt the football.
Yep. Delay of game. They'll go back 5 yards. A little more room for the punter.
Not a bad call. I mean, there's a lot of time left. Your defense is playing well. All you're hoping for right now is that Dorr gives you a better effort from the punt, that he can kick something inside the 10-yard line where you make Minnesota be very conservative with the football. So the next time you get the ball, you're right back where you are now.
Here's Dorr. He was involved in a big play in the game. With a fake punt into a long pass. Resulted in a pass interference call against Minnesota that set up an Oregon score.
It looks like they're going to try to take another penalty here. The play clock is now at 10-9. Glenn Mason talking to David Gibbs on the sideline.
Yeah, they want to go back apparently to the 50, and Glenn Pilati's thinking is undoubtedly then Dorr can pretty much take a full swing at it.
Well, I think what Minnesota will do here is decline the penalty, though. Make them kick it from right here.
Mike Pilati kind of shrugged and said, okay, it was worth a try, and we thought that's probably what Glenn Mason would do. Well, Leverson standing back at the 10-yard line. Minnesota's blocked 3 punts this year. Doesn't look like they're in that frame of mind. They only rushed 3. And Dorr hangs it up high. They should have a chance to down it near the 1. And they couldn't do it. They were perfectly positioned. Brandon McLemore had the best chance at it. Ryan Mitchell was also down there. But they couldn't catch the punt near the 1-yard line. McLemore and Mitchell both disappointed.
Army, Web TV, and by Mercedes-Benz.
Beautiful view from the Sun Bowl across the U.S.-Mexico border into El Paso's sister city, Juarez, Mexico. El Paso's population approximately 600,000. Juarez, Mexico, a big city, 1.7 million. Those teams enjoyed excursions over into Mexico as part of the hospitality of the week. Thomas Hamner's had a very quiet day on 1st and 10 from the 20 out beyond the 22 for the Golden Gophers. Matt Smith made the tackle. Minnesota leads by 3 as we approach 9 minutes left.
Talked about Billy Cochran making good decisions this year, and that being the big difference between last year and this year. He really needs to do that here with the football.
He's going deep. Hamner, the running back, deep downfield. And the pass fell incomplete with Justin Wilcox in coverage. Tonight, CBS is the only place to be. It all begins with Dave in prime time, then Grammy's greatest performances, and finally Will Smith and a Millennium celebration not to be missed. It's all tonight on CBS New Year's Eve. Third down and 8. Mike Bellotti, when he decided to punt, was hoping for 3 downs and out from Minnesota. Chance to get the ball back with excellent field position. Yet another big play in this very tight game. Cochran out of the gun. Steps up to avoid the rush. He's going to pick up the first down and more. Out to the 37-yard line. Finally taken down by Michael Fletcher. That was a very important 14-yard gain to keep the ball in possession of the Minnesota Golden Gophers and run some more clock. First down.
Talk about good decisions. Nothing open downfield. Use your skills, baby. Run the football. Use your speed. He eluded the best defender on the Oregon team, P.Sirmon, and gets the first down. Very heads-up decision that time by Cochran running the football.
Fifth-year senior was in a battle to be the starting quarterback in the preseason. Firm grasp on it with his play this year. He was not on the same page with Luke Leverson with that pass. Justin Wilcox had the coverage. Not a big rushing day for Cochran or Hamner. And as we mentioned, the two of them combined more productive this year than any other duo in any backfield in Division 1A football, with more than 2,100 combined rushing yards. Hamner's rushed for 49 yards on 18 carries. Out of the shotgun. This time they come up to greet Cochran. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Matt Smith and Dietrich Moore combined to take down Cochran. Another important third down play. We run down to 8 minutes left. And we look at our CBS Sports Line stat of the game. Total yardage. Minnesota with just 85. They average 239 a game. I guess that's a sign of a good team when you aren't successful with your bread and butter and you can still have the lead. For complete college football coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com. Here comes the blitz. Boom, it's got it off, but it's incomplete. Dietrich Moore hit Cochran from behind. And Minnesota will punt, but the first down that they picked up was important to give them a little better field position. Forced Oregon to play on a longer field, but it gets the ball back.
There's Dietrich Moore, really a good outside edge rusher, has good explosion to the quarterback. And a big play for the Oregon defense.
Let's see if they come after Ryan Rindles, the Minnesota punter. Gets it off. Good and a beauty. Inside the 10, Michael Fletcher caught it at the 9, and Oregon is going to have to work the long field as Fletcher made it only to the 13, a 4-yard return of a 53-yard punt by Rindles. Brad Prigge made the tackle for the Golden Gophers. 7.5 left at the Sun Bowl.
Back at the Sun Bowl, Minnesota leading by 3, and still some injury problems for Oregon. The R.Droughns injury seems to be a bit of a mystery. He does have cramps, and he is still attached to an IV. In fact, I saw him walk from the training room into the locker room. Walking is putting it generously. He was hobbling, very stiff, still attached to the IV. The cramps primarily in the hamstrings and the calves. They say it's due to the heat here in El Paso, which the Oregon team members aren't used to. Meanwhile, split end Sean Tucker done for the day. Sean out with a right thigh bruise. Back to you.
Both injuries significant, particularly Droughns, but here's his stand-in, Herman Ho Ching. Out near the 20-yard line, Tyrone Carter made the tackle with help from Delvin Jones. If anybody doubted that Carter was deserving of the Jim Thorpe Award as the best defensive back in the nation, they have no doubts after his play today. He's been all over the field.
All over the field, and when he gets to the quarterback or the running back, the guy goes down. He does not miss tackles, and then he's also a very dangerous return man. Here, the kickoff return for good yardage. He was nicknamed Touchdown Tyrone in high school. Scored 23 touchdowns as a senior, 4 touchdowns in his college career at Minnesota.
On 2nd and 4, the pass caught by the fullback, Chad Chance, and he has a first down. Jimmy Wyrick made the tackle with help from Willie Middlebrooks. 13 tackles now for Tyrone, 7 of them solo tackles.
You know, the one thing in talking to David Gibbs about Tyrone and projecting him at the next level, a lot of people think he'd play corner because he's not big as a normal NFL safety. He thinks he can play safety, and the area where he'll really have to improve is his zone coverage. Says he can play man-to-man, but the zone coverage is where he really needs to work at because he's very aggressive in the run game right now.
Herman Ho Ching on first down. Blake tackled at the 34. 3 yards shy of a first down, pulled down by Jimmy Wyrick. Boy, Colorado really laid it on Boston College today in Tucson, Arizona, but a terrific season for Boston College. I know the Eagles are a little worried about that matchup. Colorado, a lot of team speed, and that's the one thing that gave BC difficulty this year. And a successful return to Boulder for Gary Barnett, winning a bowl game in his first year there as the head coach.
Again, T.Hartley, very quiet, Sean. They've got to find a way to get him involved here because they need a big play from somebody.
Herman Ho-Ching has a hole. And another first down. Ball came out, but he was already down at the 45-yard line, taken down by Delvin Jones. Here's Drones, no longer attached to the IV and looking quite fit as he returned to the bench.
Well, this was a trick play, and I saw them run it with Reuben Drones. This is the quarterback, Harrington. That's the tailback, Ho-Ching, right there in the shotgun. It's a direct snap to the tailback, and then he just follows the lead of his fullback. A little change-up play, a little draw play out of a different look. Got pretty decent yardage for the first down.
Harrington back under center. Rolls out and throws. Nice catch. There's Hartley. You talked about the need to get back to him, and they did for another Oregon first down to the Minnesota territory at the 44-yard line. As we tick down to 5 minutes remaining. 1st and 10, Oregon trailing by 3.
You know what happens sometimes to a receiver, if he's not involved in the offense, he just kind of gets lost out there, you know, and plays are run, and pretty soon you've run 3 or 4 offensive series and you haven't gotten one of your big-time players involved. You see 6 catches for 89 yards, but most of that occurring in the first half of the ball game as he's out on the sideline for a little breather now.
That's his 2nd catch of the 2nd half. Drones back on the field now for Oregon. Harrington going for the lead, and it's incomplete. Over the head of Keenan Howry with double coverage. Travis Graham, the primary coverage at cornerback, and Delvin Jones was over to help. Second and 10 upcoming. Talked about all the close calls, which these two teams have been involved this year. And it looks like they're both going to be involved in another one.
Well, Oregon had 5 games that went down to the very last play of the ball game. They won 4 of them. That's a pretty good percentage.
The draw to Drones, tackled from behind by Tyrone Carter. Short gain to the 41.
Tyrone says, Reuben, where you been? Glad to have you back in the ball game. I missed hitting you. 22, tackling number 22. And Drones trying to get through, work through those cramps, get back in the ball game. They need his explosiveness. And Tyrone Carter saying, where you been? I've been out here waiting for you.
Longest field goal for Villegas in his career, 49 yards. He has never tried one of more than 50. They're not in field goal range right now. Blitz on 3rd and 8. A screen. Drones hit by Jimmy Henry. A huge play by the sophomore linebacker from Detroit. A loss on the play back to the 44.
Great play by the nickel linebacker, Jimmy Henry. Here he is right here. Watch him read the screen. And then as soon as he reads it, he runs past the block of Ryan Schmid, the center, and makes the play. Excellent read by Jimmy Henry on the screen. It looked like they had something because the blitz came right from where the screen was going. But Jimmy Henry had man coverage on Reuben Drones and made the play.
With under 3.5 minutes remaining, this time Mike Bellotti's going to go for it on 4th and 11. He won't try to punt him in deep again with this little time left. Both teams have 3 timeouts left. Harrington steps up and throws. By Hartley. First down, Oregon at the 21.
Sean, what's crazy about that play, too, is Harrington probably could have run that football for a first down. There was a big opening in the middle of the field. He could have run, but he held in there and waited till Hartley cleared. Nice job by Harrington stepping up in the pocket. And again, get your big guy involved in the offense. Tony Hartley's your best receiver. Get him the football. Huge conversion on 4th down. Joey Harrington Harrington says, you got me, but I got the completion. Tyron Rush, a little late.
7 catches for Hartley for 113 yards. Here's Drones. Breaks tackles inside the 10 with another first down. Well, this is shades of Willis Reed coming out of the locker room to play for the Knicks. Drones a moment ago, hobbling badly, hooked up for a long time to an IV, and now in there trying to lead them on a game-winning rush. Obviously, that's a little bit of a stretch as an analogy, not the same drama, but impressive that he'd come back in his last game.
And again, you see the difference in the younger player, Delvin Jones, the sophomore, from Tyrone Carter. Delvin Jones, that time, is the main run support guy. He gets in position, but he doesn't settle down and make the tackle, and Drones turns it into a big game.
First and goal. Ball right on the 10. They cannot get another first down without scoring a touchdown. That's not a penalty. And nothing doing for Drones. Tyrone Carter there to greet him again. Ticking down to 2 minutes left. They're certainly in field goal range, but they're thinking about a touchdown to the lead. We mentioned earlier, chronicled the close calls. A tripled overtime win against USC. They lost UCLA when they were on the 1-yard line when time expired. Game-winning field goal to beat Arizona. A touchdown with 9 seconds left to beat Arizona State. And the interception to preserve the win at Cal.
We talked about Cochran having to make good decisions with the football. Joey Harrington has to also. If he throws it, be careful.
He throws it toward the end zone. It is caught! Touchdown, Keenan Howry!
Take a look at the end of the play. Harrington to the corner of the end zone to Howry. Throw it to the sidelines. Willie Middlebrooks, the best defender, out of position for probably the first time today. And he gets beat for the touchdown. Glenn Mason says it's my best defender who got beat.
Now the crucial extra point up and good for Nathan Villegas. That makes it a 4-point lead for Oregon. And Minnesota is going to have to go the length of the field and score a touchdown with 1:32 and 3 timeouts remaining. A memorable drive by the Oregon Ducks, and they lead by 4 in the Sun Bowl.
Oregon with the 4-point lead. Now, here's Middlebrooks on Hartley, the best on the best. But when the motion comes across, the two defenders are going to try to bump and switch assignments. So now Middlebrooks takes the outside receiver, but he's caught trailing behind the play, and Harrington reads it and gets the ball to Howry for the touchdown. That's a common practice. You bump assignments so that you don't get picked, you don't get caught up on the inside. But Willie Middlebrooks, too slow coming out of that break after the motion, and got beat for the touchdown.
Well, that's a drive they'll remember for a long time in Eugene. Started on their own 13. Harrington marched them in 12 plays, nearly 6 minutes. They converted a 4th down. And that missed extra point looms large now for Minnesota. And they're going to have to begin at their 20 after the kickoff from Katz is down by Antoine Henderson. If you just joined us, it was 7-7 at halftime. Minnesota scored on the opening drive of the 3rd quarter. But Dan Nystrom missed the extra point. And that made it 13-7. Nystrom simply hooked it wide left. And if they had that point now, all they need is a field goal to force overtime. Field goal does them no good now.
You know, and one thing about Oregon, and this is a consistent thing. It's been consistent for them this year, but really ever since Bellotti has taken over, 19 of 26 games decided by a touchdown or less, Oregon has won.
Trying to fool them with the draw. Hamner gets the first down. The clock will stop to move the chains. Rare running room today for Thomas Hamner. P.Sirmon made the tackle. A gain of 11. Both teams with all 3 timeouts left. 60 yards rushing on 19 carries now for Hamner in his last game for the Golden Gophers. Cochran throws quickly. Deron Johnson short of a first down. And the clock runs. He's at the 39-yard line. They need 2 to convert a first down.
They have all 3 of their timeouts, so they need to move as quickly as possible, but realize they've got all 3 of their timeouts.
The rally to beat Penn State on the field goal. They completed 2 Hail Mary plays. The first play of the possession was a 46-yard bomb to Ron Johnson, and then that deflected pass on 4th and 16 to Arlen Bruce that got them 27 yards to get in the range for winning field goal. That play got to the 42-yard line, and Hamner got out of bounds with a first down. But now they have to think about larger chunks of yardage.
Larger chunks of yardage, and realizing if you're going to throw into the middle of the field, short of the first down, the clock is going to continue running. You got to use your timeouts if that's the case.
3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Cockrum's looking back to the left, man open, juggled, but caught by Leverson, and out of bounds at the 39-yard line of Oregon. 17-yard gain on the completion of the senior from Miami, Florida.
Good concentration by Leverson with the double catch there, gets the feet in. Bellotti saw the bobble but didn't see him secure the catch on the sideline with room to spare. And now Nick Aliotti's got to think, okay, they're moving the ball. Should I come after him with pressure? But you always run the risk then of Cockrum pulling it down and running the football if you get too aggressive.
Still have all 3 timeouts left. They can go over the middle. Cockrum, he can't take a sack. He lost the ball. Oregon has it at the 45-yard line. Soph to recover the fumble.
Dietrich Moore is the guy who got the sack and knocked the ball out, Sean. Again, coming off the edge, the linebacker blitz. And the Oregon defense comes up with the play. They played soft to start this series. They gave up some plays. And right then, Nick Aliotti says, that's enough. Let's come after them. And they come with the pressure. Dietrich Moore coming, Matt Smith coming, and the ball is out and on the ground. Nice job by Dietrich Moore wrapping up the chest of the quarterback and separating from the football. Knocked that ball out, and Oregon gets it.
Well, the rush was in Cockrum's face. He really needed to either put the ball away, take the sack, and use a timeout, or throw it away.
Absolutely.
They couldn't afford the catastrophe that they just endured. The fumble that should give the game to Oregon. Minnesota can't stop the clock 3 times with 41 seconds left. This one appears to be in the win column for the Ducks. Stranger things have happened, really, with these 2 teams, the way their seasons have gone. You see the ball carrier and the tackle made by Carter in a timeout.
You see Ruben both arms over the football, because right now you got to be thinking they're going to try to hold me up with the first tackler and come in and try to strip that ball out. That's the only chance that Minnesota has. Ruben Drones very protective of the football right there. Had a fumble earlier in the game after a long run. Securing it with both arms right now.
Ducks on the verge of their 9th win. Matched the school record for most wins in a season, last accomplished in 1995 in Mike Bellotti's first year as head coach. They also won 9 in 94, and they went to the Rose Bowl in the last season under Rich Brooks, their all-time leader in coaching victories in Eugene. And they've got this program running.
Yeah, they do.
They've got good players, good coaches. And they're going to get a lot more exposure. It looks like they're going to be on the national landscape for a long time.
I think so. You know, they play good offense. They're playing good defense. They're aggressive. We talked about winning those close games, and we talked to Mike Bellotti about that. You know, what's the cause of that? He says, I think it's our poise. You know, we prepare. We do a lot of work in preparation for those kind of situations late in the ball game and making plays. And then it's senior leadership. We talked about Hartley needing to step up. He made some huge catches in that touchdown drive.
Drones again driven back, and the Gophers call another quick timeout with 31 seconds left. Oregon leads 24-20. We'll return to El Paso in a moment. Has led the Gophers to 8 victories. It's going to take another miraculous finish to make it 9. If they can stop Oregon on this 3rd down play that's upcoming, 3rd and 8, they at least force a punt, and who knows what might happen. Minnesota did block 3 punts this year. As a matter of fact, the punt block team dubbed itself early in the season the Punt Killers. They had a couple very early in the year.
They would need to rise the occasion in this case. And again, you put pressure right over the ball, maybe hope for a bad snap, a low snap, hope that the punter's a little bit nervous. But first things first, you got to stop him here on this 3rd down play.
And Harrington, on design keeper, is collared to the 50. Timeout Minnesota with 25 seconds left. Aston Osai made the tackle. Well, Minnesota could really use one more block punt to finish out the season. The opener at the Metrodome against Ohio U, Delvin Jones blocked the punt the second quarter that resulted in a safety. Very next week against the University of Louisiana Monroe in the second quarter, Travis Graham blocked Jason White's punt. Tellis Redmond returned it for a touchdown. And then at Northwestern on October 2nd, Mike Lehan blocked the punt out of the end zone for a safety. So they've been able to do it before, but you know all Curtis Dorr is thinking about is getting this off.
All he's thinking is getting it off, and that's why I would expect Minnesota to put some big bodies or put a lot of pressure right on the center and try to hopefully get a bad snap. Because Curtis Dorr is thinking, as soon as I catch it, I'm just kicking. All I got to do is get rid of it. But if it's a bad snap, high or low, it will take more time and allow Minnesota to maybe get in there and get a shot at it.
Dorr's had 2 blocked this year. Nobody back deep for the Gophers. Have to be careful to stay on side on 4th and 5. Good snap. Dorr gets it off. And they're going to down it inside the 5-yard line. Now it's picked up by Arlen Bruce. It was touched but not down by the Ducks. So Bruce runs it back to the 7. 12 seconds left. No timeouts. 46-yard punt, 3-yard return.
Looking more and more with 12 seconds like the first bowl loss for the Big Ten, the first bowl victory for the Pac-10.
Was this year.
Yep. Still 1-3 overall. They've got 1 left. Stanford with the game against Wisconsin tomorrow. The Rose Bowl.
See you later.
I'll tell you one thing, Stanford doesn't play as good a defense as this Oregon team does, and they're going to have their hands full with Ron Dane in Wisconsin tomorrow.
You like his comment, the Pac-10 wins again. I don't know how much emphasis I would put on again.
No.
The bowl troubles the last 2 years, but it is a win to help restore the image of the conference. Cockrum's pass incomplete with 6 seconds left. Mike Bellotti, a candidate for the bucket. They're right there ready to give it to him.
It's a good program. Yep. You know, they've got good fans. I've done a few games up there at Alton Stadium. It's a loud stadium. It's a good home field advantage that they have up there. They're undefeated at home this season, and they play an exciting brand of football.
Well, what play are you going to call here, Mr. Offensive Coordinator?
Same play they called to beat Penn State.
I think they need a band to run out of the field and run some interference for them. That pass caught by Leverson. He goes down immediately, and time has expired. Mike Bellotti leads the Oregon Ducks to victory in the 66th Wells Fargo Sun Bowl. Disappointing end of the season for Minnesota. These young men should be very proud of what they've done to rejuvenate the football program in Minneapolis. And the challenge for them will be to sustain it next year, take advantage of the increased exposure in recruiting, and they think that that's going very well right now. You know, it's easy to have one big year where you jump up and then fall back, but the challenge will be to keep it going for the Gophers. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, I'm with the victorious Mike Bellotti. He's also drenched and obviously very happy. Talk about this, really a close finish when you break it down.
I think we've become the master of the close finishes, and the nice part is we finished on top. We got great effort on both sides of the ball and special teams to win this game in the 4th quarter. We didn't play as well in the first half as I thought we could, and we're capable of, and I just told them that at halftime. They came back and did a great job. I'm so proud of my team and everybody associated with the program.
Particularly the way that Minnesota played against you. They played very well.
They played well, and they had us well scouted, did a great job in all aspects of it. We decided we needed to take away the run on defense. I think we did a great job. I know we gave them some stuff in the past, but our kids stiffened up and did a great job.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Sean, back up to you.
Well, as expected, Todd, it was a terrific game.
It really was. It was an outstanding game. And again, Oregon, in the end, late in the ball game, made the plays they needed on both sides, like Mike Bellotti said, to get the win.
And this concludes our season of college football coverage here on CBS. We hope you enjoy it. We certainly saw a terrific number of very exciting games, including this one. And as we leave you, we hope you'll pay attention to the names rolling on the credits of some terrific and very talented people who brought you these telecasts all season. So long and Happy New Year.